Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Select Board meeting of July 13th. And welcome to being back in person. I am the vice chair currently, and so in the absence of having elected a chair yet, I'll be chairing the meeting. I want to review the agenda really quickly. We have community input at 7. Actually, before I do that, I want to say that David Modell, who's also a member of the board, he will be joining us as he's making his way back from Western Mass. And in the meantime, are we all set up, Tim, for him to be participating remotely?
I believe so. I'm waiting for him to call.
Okay, all right, so he hasn't called in yet.
Yep.
All righty, great. So after community input, we will, we're going to move the next item on the agenda, the select board elections, until David is here. So then we'll have the LEPC update with Chief Fisher, and then the appointment of the part-time police officer with Chief Fisher. We're going to move the discussion of the format of the future select board meetings to when David is here as well. So those two items, number 2 and number 5, will move further down on the agenda. Then we'll be looking at the contracts to award the Greeno Dam construction project. Then we're going to have a presentation on the Highland Building Committee funding request. We'll be discussing the American Rescue Plan and the charge for the committee that we're going to establish here in Carlisle. We have quite a bit of time set to take a first look at the Carlisle personnel policies. And then at 9 o'clock, we will be a brief discussion about setting up an August 10th select board meeting to discuss goals for the next year. We'll be looking at the annual appointments and discussion of liaison assignments, cemetery deeds at 9:20, the town administrator's report at 9:25, liaison reports, and at the end, approval of the minutes and warrants, and adjournment, we hope, at 9:50 p.m. So thank you all. And let me begin by asking if anyone is here to offer community input. Yes, would you like to go first, Jeannie? Yeah, why don't you come up, and then they'll be able to hear you on the recording too. Sure. Thanks, and don't forget to introduce yourself.
I used to face this way. Am I supposed to face this way now?
Either is fine. You can turn it if you prefer. Oh. Yeah, as long as your face is at your mouth is at the mic.
It's up there. No.
Oh, it's there now.
Yeah,
oh, okay. Oh, great.
Yeah.
Oh, super great. Okay, this is to make up for a delinquency from the last select board meeting. I wasn't prepared to say goodbye to Alan Lewis last time. And it's very short, 30 seconds. And I would just like to, I emailed him and thanked him for his work. And I would like it into the meeting minutes. And so if you can bear with me for 30 seconds, it says, "Hi, Alan, just wanted to say thank you for your service to Carlisle as a select board member and for working on the LEPC and other committees I may be missing here. I am especially sorry that you are no longer a part of the select board. Your performance overall was great, but you excelled at being chair. In your work, you were always attentive to the issues, always fair to other members of the select board and to the citizens of Carlisle, and always listened with an open mind and with great courtesy and respect. I knew that when you made a decision, it would be made with great integrity. I feel certain the entire select board and the police chief and the other attendees at that last meeting, and those not there, were also sorry to see you leave. Finally, thank you for acknowledging my presence at the meetings. It meant a lot. Hope you and Barbara have a great summer vacation planned. You deserve the break. Respectfully, Jeannie Janetsko." And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeannie. Vanessa?
Hi, Vanessa Maroney, Bedford Road. I'm here tonight to make a comment and a request regarding your agenda item for the Highland Building Committee funding request. My request, I have to hold this farther away, is that you do not vote on this item tonight and that you limit the agenda item to discussion only. Like most residents, I get the bulk of my information from articles in the Mosquito, and the last coverage I've seen in the Mosquito pertaining to the Highland Building request for funding was from June 23rd, where it was noted that the select board was in agreement that the quote, logical next step was for the school committee to be consulted first before spending money. I was pleased to see this path forward as both sensible and responsible. When I saw tonight's agenda, and I was confused as to why I hadn't seen a notice for the school committee to meet and review this first. I now understand that somewhere along the line, the plan changed and the school committee has not had a chance to review the proposal and vote on whether or not they support it. I feel that this significant change in process has not been duly communicated to residents who are trying to stay informed about the Highland Building. I want to be clear that I support and applaud efforts to build and provide affordable housing for municipal employees. But if the school committee, who is the major stakeholder in the Highland Building project, is not on board with either or both of these proposals, then it would be irresponsible to spend $6,000 of taxpayer money. As I see it, there are 4 issues with taking a vote tonight. One is if people only read the Mosquito, then they are still waiting to know when the school committee will be meeting to review the request for funding. Number 2 is money should not be spent until there is demonstrated community support, especially from the major stakeholder, the school committee. Number 3 is the Highland Building project is probably the most controversial thing that is happening in town right now, and taking a vote on this without enough notice to residents during the summer when most people are away and at a time when committees are adjusting to new members and new leadership seems unnecessary. This is not an urgent issue. It can safely wait a couple weeks for the school committee to have a chance to convene and discuss. And number 4, this speaks to the fiscal sustainability, which is one of the major spokes for the master plan project, is that in general, spending money from unused capital funds should be done sparingly and with adequate due diligence. These funds only exist because they were not used towards something else, which did endure our town's extensive budgeting process. The proposal has not been thoroughly vetted yet. I would ask you to keep in mind all the proposed budget items for this new fiscal year, which didn't make the cut, and are less controversial and more critical to day-to-day life in Carlisle.
Hey, David.
Please don't vote tonight. Wait until the school committee has a chance to review and discuss the proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. All right, is there any other community input? All right, well then we'll move along, and Chief Fisher with the LEPC report.
I think you're on, David.
And David's, since he wasn't able to probably hear that.
Yeah, Vanessa, before you go, do you have a copy of your statement? And we could at
We'd
least,
like to have David have a chance. I'm here.
Okay. Very good.
well, we're just thinking to make sure we could get it to David, but if you want to send it in an email, that works too.
I made an edit, so.
Okay.
Okay.
That's okay. Okay.
All right.
Yes, Chief,
Hey, thanks for having me. I just want to make sure that
David's all
Select
set.
Board member Modell is able to join us here before I
He's
get
on.
fired up.
He's on the line.
You feeling pretty good about this? All right.
Welcome, David.
Just talk to him.
Hi, I can barely hear anybody.
Well, I'll put my basketball coach voice on then. This is the LEPC update. The LEPC met yesterday at 10 in the morning. And the reports, summary of the reports include Linda Fantasia from the Board of Health provided information that we've had 11 new cases since April 10th, which brings our total to 17 probable, 192 confirmed in our town. Probably many people heard that yesterday the last large clinic closed. I think in Dartmouth, and the state is now moving toward refocusing on local events. And there was discussion about the potential to have something here in the fall, potentially coinciding with Old Home Day, but maybe not. But just that Linda's going to explore that with the state when they do go mobile with their vaccine clinics. There were questions about what's going to happen for young people going back to school. I guess there's been no direction provided from the state that either Linda or any of us are aware of yet. We are hoping for that. Linda's definitely hoping for that it comes soon, so that we'll have what we need as a town going forward prior to school starting. We talked briefly about tick testing and how the testing in the state has switched up, and with not a lot new other than it's being taken on by a private entity. Chief Sorrells and his folks are still continuing the COVID tests, and really kudos should be given to he and the members of his department. I think I think all members of the LAPC agree this is a great thing that we offer here in Carlisle, and we all appreciate what the members of our fire department are doing. And then the fire department from the LAPC front was also reporting about water in basements in Carlisle. Unfortunately, with just 9 inches of rain, we've had that, and members of the LAPC were appreciative of the members of the fire department that are going and doing those pump outs. And unfortunately, from the LAPC front and fire department front there, self-contained breathing apparatus charging unit has failed, so they're in the process of working to get a different one. Our COA reported the activities are robust. They're being very well attended. I think all members of the LAPC offered kudos to COA and Joan for the work that her folks are doing, both ensuring that people have basics like food, but also that activities that are fun are really ramping up. Lori Eckler and her Carlisle Neighbor Response Team continue to provide shopping for Carlisle residents that need it, and we're all appreciative of the work that they do. The Select Board gave a brief report about the potential setup of the Arpa group that'll take a look at some of the money that's going to become available to Carlisle shortly because of the pandemic. In brief, that's what we had. Does anybody have any questions from the LAPC front?
Thank
Let me
you.
jump right to the next agenda item.
You may continue.
All right, thank you. So I asked the Select Board to consider an appointment for part-time police officer. The appointee that I'm asking for tonight is a man named Gregory Balzotti, who lives in Littleton, but served 29 years at the Maynard Police Department, full-time. Part of the police reform legislation now is after July 1st, there is no such thing as part-time police officers. They all have to be full-time within the next 3 years, depending on the first letter of their last name. So while we're in the process of getting several of our members up to speed with full-time, it does help when somebody like Mr. Balzotti becomes available. He comes highly recommended from the Maynard Police Department, so he worked there full-time. He is limited in the number of hours he can work, but he is able to help us out, and comes highly recommended. He's Chelmsford High School graduate, has a couple of associate's degrees from Middlesex Community College, and attended the Topsfield Police Academy for full-time. So this helps us. We've lost a few members, as you know, people that are not going to be able to do the full-time academy piece. So he helps us in a small way because we are scrambling right now for members. So I would respectfully request that the Select Board consider offering Mr. Balzotti an appointment as a part-time police officer.
Would someone like to make a motion and then we can have discussion?
I move to accept the recommendation of the Chief of Police and appoint Gregory Balzotti, Littleton, Massachusetts, to serve as a part-time police officer with the Carlisle Police Department.
Second?
Any discussion or questions of the chief? Comments?
Did a pretty good presentation, covered bases.
Luke?
Nope, no, I,
Good? Okay. Nathan?
I know I don't.
All right. Well, then let's go to a vote. Now, because David is remote, do we need to do a roll call vote with?
That's, yeah,
That is right.
he's participating remotely.
Okay,
Correct.
Great. All right, so we're gonna,
Did David have any questions?
Oh.
I don't know if he heard any
yeah,
of
can
us.
he, David, do you have any questions about the, part-time police officer? You hear me?
It's on the line.
Okay, well, let's just vote then.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we- all right, well, let's see. Do I still go first if I'm chairing the meeting? I guess I do.
Sure, we're
Huh?
going in alphabetical order.
Yeah, alphabetical by last name. Okay, Arnold, I.
Oskalilowite?
Brown eye?
Modell would be next. David, maybe you can ask him, Tim, if he's ready to vote.
David, are you ready to
I had
vote?
one question.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me or not?
Yes, we can hear you.
Loud and clear.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
The only question I had was the budget, the impact on the budget.
There's no, impact as this position is funded, we're not going to, actually, the only thing we're gonna have to do is buy him some equipment. The other stuff, we're gonna transfer over. We have a firearm, we have the expensive stuff in brief, but we will have to
Yep.
buy him
Yep.
uniforms that fit him.
So I mean, but his salary, is his salary included in, is there a budgetary impact?
Yes, I'm sorry that I did not say that right out of the gate. That is a budgeted item. He is at
Okay,
the
thank
rate
you.
that
That's
we
all.
pay our police officers.
Okay, that's my only question. Thank you.
All right, so let's go back and just do that one more time. So,
Good idea.
so we're gonna take a roll call vote. Arnold, I.
Oskalilowite?
Brown eye?
Modell, aye.
Reed, aye.
Excellent. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, Chief.
Thank you all, I appreciate the time.
All right, so we're gonna go to the contract for, the two contracts, actually, for the Greeno Dam construction. Tim, do you want to introduce this? I see that Sylvia's here too, but
Sure, well,
I think probably it makes,
I don't want to step on Sylvia's toes. She knows more about this project, and has been involved with it longer than any of us. If you'd like a brief outline of the project, my goal tonight is to ask the board to award both the construction contract and the engineering services contracts, both of which need some tweaking by town council, and she asked that if the board could make the award, it would come back to you in final form for signature. So you just be making a vote to award tonight, but as far as
Okay.
the project goes, there's no one better than Sylvia to describe it.
do you want to, well, we've only allocated 5 minutes for this, but if you want to come up and just give a 2-minute overview, if you're game for that, not about the contract, but just about what they'll be doing. Yeah, thanks, Sylvia.
As you know, the project is to repair the Greeno Dam so that we have a connection between one part of Greeno Dam and hundreds of acres of protected open space on the other end of Greeno Dam. And the project has been on my to-do list since summer of 2000. Wow. And then finally getting to the point. So we've got all our permits. Tim has, well, we went out for bid and we are selecting the lowest bid. I assume that what they are going to do is what's been permitted. And as I told you this morning on the phone, I see my role at this point is to make sure this goes as smoothly as possible by making sure that people who own the land that's the access to it are in the loop. And I think we need to contact the folks that live on River Edge Road in Billerica. So because most of the access and the trucking and stuff is going to be coming in from there. It's a very tight, close neighborhood, unlike what we have around here. And the number of times I've been in there, there are kids playing out in the street. It's not much of a backyard because it's a river. So I think it's important to do that and to figure out the best hours of construction and noise, because noise travels over water very easily. So are there going to be Saturday hours? I don't know. But I think these are little items that need to be worked out so that we can have a project that when it's done, everyone is satisfied and happy and no one's angry at Carlisle.
Great, I think you'll do a great job at that, Sylvia. Thank you.
The important thing is to know when it's going to start, because I also need to inform the Army Corps of Engineers, and I'm sure we've got everything taken care of there.
Mm-hmm,
We have their permit, but it's
Right.
like.
right. Okay,
Any idea of when he's planning to start, Tim?
Our engineers, Stevens Associates, presuming that the board votes to award both contracts, is setting up a pre-construction meeting with Bates and Son.
Mhm.
So they'll talk about project schedule and all those sorts of things very shortly. Yep.
And in the pre-construction, we probably should have the property owners, that own the access, because there's a common driveway that. we have.
That's one of the items that,
Yeah.
the engineers want to talk about. Yeah, they agree that that's important,
Yeah, okay,
or it's not easy to get to.
right.
Go to Bill Ricker to
And-
get there, yeah.
And people that come in from Billerica, they use the Greeno land, they need to have the trails, a workaround, sort of a detour, so that they can get onto the land without getting involved in the construction vehicles, in construction activity. And then for anybody that wants to get from this side to this side, there need to be signs up with routes so that people know where to go. Good. Anyway.
yes,
I just have a quick question, if I
that's
may.
great,
Sylvia.
sure, Nathan.
So I'm sure this was asked, like, you know, when this was being talked about for a town meeting and everything, but, so this is repairing a dam, the dam's holding back a lot of water. What's like the worst thing that could happen in this, and you're like, what's the risk to the town?
Not starting it soon enough, right
I
now.
meant during construction.
During construction. Since there's going to be a cofferdam, that's probably the first phase of this, so that before they take out the failed spillway, there's a cofferdam that goes in, it's these piles that go in, and it's permanent. That will hold back the pond, so that when they take them out, it doesn't flood out.
So they're putting something in place first to keep the water in
I
before they
hope that's
work on
what
the
they're
other
going to
part.
do.
'Cause that would
All
be
we
pretty
did
bad
was-
if all of a sudden the pond was empty.
Yeah, that has happened in the past. The dam has failed at least twice. The last time was around 1995, but not at any of the infrastructure, just the earthen part blew out. So
Thank you.
hopefully, everything will go smoothly. It is a dam, and it's at full pool right now. There's about this much space, 2 inches of space.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've had a lot of water.
yes, we have.
You too.
All right, thanks a lot, Sylvia.
Thank you.
So let's have a motion then, please. I guess we'll take them one at a time.
I move the select board vote to award the Greeno Dam Repair Project contract to R. Bates and Sons Incorporated LLC, 140 Pratt's Junction Road, Suite 101, Sterling, Massachusetts, in the amount of $447,000, and to authorize the chair or town administrator to sign contract documents.
So are we cutting out that last part there, Tim?
Yeah, I'm wondering, shouldn't we, for
Because it's coming back? or-
contingent, or is it?
Oh, yeah, no, that's right, yeah, you don't have to,
Yeah.
So just
vote that.
Because-
from
The
and
board will-
authorized goes
The board
away?
will sign that.
Yeah.
So would we
Comes
end
back.
Just to award the contract, period.
after the
7th
number?
After the number,
Yeah,
And same thing to the other one?
and same thing for the other one,
okay.
okay.
So
Second.
we've got a motion and a second. Did we get a second on this?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Nathan just
All right,
seconded it.
so, any more discussion?
I just want to say that we also did, by the way, apply for a state grant and weren't successful in getting it, unfortunately, so.
All right,
we
roll
made the-
call.
We made the effort.
Yes, yes, we did. All right, roll call vote.
The effort, yeah.
Arnold, aye.
Oscar Lilo, aye?
Brown eye?
Odell, aye.
Reed, aye.
Motion passes unanimously.
And I move that the select board vote to award the engineering services contract for the Greeno Dam Repair Project to Stevens Associates Consulting Engineers LLC, 60 Northrop Drive, Brentwood, New Hampshire, 03833, in the amount of $80,000.
Second?
Second?
Thank you. Any discussion?
So I guess, Tim, my only discussion is that I really do hope that when you have that pre-construction, that Sylvia is invited to that meeting.
Yeah, certainly, yeah, why not?
She's at least notified of when it's gonna be, and then she.
It just hasn't been scheduled. I didn't mean to be mysterious about it,
Okay, yeah,
but
it
yeah.
just didn't, I
it's-
wasn't certain that,
It's,
you know.
it's gonna happen,
That was
yeah.
in the plan, I just
Good.
wanted to be sure
Sneaky
that it
Tim.
is in the plan. Okay.
Clandestine meeting.
Yeah.
Right. Good. All right, let's move on
Well,
then.
we need a vote.
Yeah, we didn't
Oh,
vote.
I'm sorry, I didn't. Roll call vote. Arnold, aye.
Oskalilowite?
Brown eye?
Modell, aye.
Reed, aye.
Excellent. All right, motion
Yep.
passes unanimously. So now we can move
Modell,
on.
Gotcha.
Now, you only get to
Okay.
vote once, David. I don't care if you are in a car.
All right, we're moving on then to the Highland Building part of the agenda. And John, would you like to come up to the mic? Thank you. Yes, so we should probably,
Which is helpful for the, also the public
Are
to
you-
see.
Yeah.
are you putting it up on this screen?
I don't know which is the best screen to
Are
put
we
it
doing
on.
this one?
This,
All right,
well,
so
would be
let's
this
move
one,
outta here.
would be the,
Yeah.
okay. I think I've got it,
I think it's in download. I sent it to you also, right?
yes, yeah, I've got it, remember how we do this.
Yes.
So much easier with Zoom, right? You just put it on the screen.
Oh,
Share screen.
have,
You can't do hybrid Zoom meetings, I guess, right?
they figured out.
Oh, no, I think we can.
Great, but then also should move it, so.
Hopefully we've got the batteries and the.
Yeah, everything's probably dead.
All right. John, take it away. Or once you
Well, it might take a minute.
info up there, okay.
I haven't fired this thing up in a year, so.
So this is the first public meeting in this room?
person.
In
This
person,
is the
and the-
first,
Yeah. Since March of 2020.
Last time it was in person, it was.
That's right. And you're back again.
You went into hibernation.
Should we turn the lights down?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, then I can doze off and the professor won't see me.
That's right. He knows that trick. Yeah.
No.
If I can, it's just like at home. 4 clickers.
Well, you have to do a function. It's telling you a function, and then what is it? Is it F, what one is it? F7? No, F8. Oh, it's got my name spelled wrong. No, it doesn't. Oh, I can't see.
One?
Yeah, one, yeah. Oh, it's telling me now. F8 has the little. F8 has the whole thing, but yeah.
Go to HDMI, because the projector's on HDMI.
Okay, but. even
Is
though
it, but
it's
this
not-
is.
Coming in from the other, yeah.
All right. Oh, let's see when the resolution shows up like that.
Yeah, there you go, that's a good sign.
All right. Mark to the rescue. Well, I think it's thinking about it.
A little, the TV.
Sorry. Yeah, flashlight.
Okay, yes.
It's not plugged into the wall. Oh, that's always the
Well,
problem.
that's,
It's not plugged in.
Oh, jeez.
It's okay.
that's a good sign.
It blinked.
Let's see. Okay.
Oh, boy.
That buzz is nice.
Yeah, let's go.
Whoops. No. The plugging, there it goes, okay, good. Okay.
Let me go back.
So,
Let me go back to the beginning here. Where's the damn-
okay, here we go. I'm John Ballantyne, 268 Fisk Street, and first of all, clearly there was some miscommunication last time around in the select board meeting as you were considering this, and that you wanted a presentation of where we are and what's going on and the request. And also, just want to welcome the new old select board member, who was also a member of the Highland Building Committee, the second one. I was surprised to see that this is the fourth committee, and that I have been on all four, that my wife volunteered me. You know, I'm just part of the process. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is the cost estimates for renovations, and also obviously address some of the misunderstandings that were just, presented to you by the public about what we're doing and how we're doing it, and our communications and work with the school committee. So here's obviously the old Highland, 1908, and here it is, the outside renovated, and here's where we stand, and we'd spent $400,000 on it. So the next slide is, so our charge, and the charge from you, and here's our committee. And we have people representing of town center, historical committee, and the school committee, obviously Chief Sorrows, and we have advising professionals, architects who have helped us on this. Our charge is to figure out what to do with it. And by the way, this has been something we've been trying to figure out for over 30 years since I almost came here, and it's not been an easy one. We understand the issues of it being close to the school, 40 feet from the school, and being on property, town property that is managed by the school, and we understand there are all those access issues involved with that and how that works. The other part of this is, as you know, there's this whole master planning process that we're involved in, and we as a committee saw this, and as I presented to you back in February, as this is part of an overall puzzle of what do we do with the town facilities and how do we work and use them. So these two work together, and so that's, next slide. So what are we trying to do? As I said, this has not been an easy discussion, and it's not something, it has lots of strong feelings across town. It is part, and we understand that. We've met with the school, with the superintendent and Christine Lear, and had a long discussion with them, and a member of the school committee, and I'll come back to that in a second. We're trying to figure out where Highland fits in the whole facilities, and to what extent it should be part of our future or not. And we need to figure out what the costs are and what's involved in renovating it or demolishing it, and what those consequences are. And so that's our focus. So here, next slide. So here basically is the overall picture, which we presented to you as part of the master plan facilities review, and talking about what are the incremental space needs going forward for a town growing to 6,000 or 6,500 people. And what you see is basically, incremental space over what we have totals over 20,000. And some of that is the COA space, or whether you have a community center. Some of it we talk about as municipal housing, which is, as you know, has been talked about regarding the on-call fire. And these are the incremental space needs that we've talked about, identified. The town has not approved them, but that's what they've thought about doing. And that is over 20,000 feet. So going, next one. So what we've done is looked at what Highland is and what would Highland be involved. And again, this cost estimate from a contractor to demolish it and then repair the site and put a parking lot or something else in would probably cost between $300,000 or $400,000. The sort of architect that we've had on the Municipal Facilities Committee that we've talked to, who has designed police and fire stations around the state. Basically, he said rough rules of thumb to renovate us, something like Highland would cost between $2 and $3 million. Then we did a schematic design with our architects, two of our consulting architects, and said, okay, if we did housing and for four units there. Again, these are rough rules of thumb. It's between 2.5 and 3 million. Again, off a schematic design, and it's just architects sort of using the left-hand side of their brains and sort of saying, what is this gonna cost? And then we've said, okay, and that's just a schematic design. Then we sort of said, okay, now if you weren't gonna use it for that, but you're gonna use it for offices, whether it be expansion of town offices or an extension of education, and there's been a proposal of using it as for education, after-school education facilities. What would that cost? You'd have to have an elevator there. You'd have to be ADA compliant, so there are a bunch of other things, whereas for the housing, you would not, and that would probably cost around 3 million. And then the community center that you probably, those of you who've been around Carlisle for a while, remember that was a town meeting vote, which was turned down. And there we had very careful cost estimates of what it was. It was about $3 million. And that's sort of where we're at, is sort of having a sense of the cost, which is kind of roughly speaking, is between $2 and $3 million. And what we need to do is get to the details and figure that out. So, next slide. So again, kind of where does this fit into the overall puzzle? Incremental square feet that the town has said that they may need over the 10 to 15 years is 15,000 feet. Then you've got the recreation municipal housing of 8,000. So it's over 20,000 feet. And we've got existing with the fire and the police and Highland at 20,000 feet. So again, this is a question of how much you might repurpose our existing facilities and how much you might build new. And that is, as you know, something that we're going through fairly carefully. And town meeting is obviously looking at has authorized us to look at both the fire and police needs. And then, so that's sort of the big picture. Then sort of what happens if you decided to build something new, demolish Highland, and this gets into the opportunity cost, and me being an economist kind of believe in that stuff. Basically, if you tear it down and then you suddenly said you need 7,000 square feet, it's probably gonna cost you $400 to $500. So tearing Highland down, demolishing it, and then putting in a new space is gonna cost you probably more than what you have now. And so, and also, as you'll see, from a sustainability standpoint, a lot of people feel that that's not the right way to go because you're actually using new materials and it's got a higher carbon footprint. So the next slide. Okay, so if those of you who can read the print, you will actually recognize some of the names if you walk through Green Cemetery in the 1908 class or 1909 class and 1949. The Sorrows aren't there yet, they're graduated later, but there are other people who have used that building, and it's a beautiful building, and it's an architectural gem. And so it's historic, but not in the historic registry. And for lots of reasons, we chose not to do that. Using it and using old buildings has a lower carbon footprint. We have stabilized the outside of the building, and it's basically there and strong. So what we're trying to do is figure out, if we renovate it, what it would cost. So here are the basic options that we're talking about. And as I said, we've had 8 meetings as the Highland Building Committee. We've had 2 consultations with the school and with Christine Lear and the superintendent, and then also with a member of the school committee. And what we decided was, why not to go to the school committee now? Was we don't have an actual plan set up to go forward, that we need to have details and what's involved, what would the structure be, what would be the land use, how do you control things, and sort of just go with sort of these general concepts, have raised as many questions that we haven't even begun to kind of go through, and we don't know really what's feasible. And that's really important, you know, because as you know, when you go to the school committee, they've got a tight agenda, they've got a certain amount of time, and so if you want to sort of work through the details of what would, if you're going forward with either housing or offices, what would be involved, where's the parking, who controls the space, there are a whole bunch of set of issues that need to be thought through. And so there is no question that there would be, obviously this has to be compatible with the schools because of its proximity, and there's a total understanding of that. And so we decided back in, I guess it was March, I think we had the meeting, and then Chief and I met with Sarah Wilson, and we talked about it further, so we've had 2 meetings, and we said we need to kind of work through those details, understand what the proposal is, what the cost is, all that stuff, before we go to the school. And so the intention is totally to work closely with the school, make sure it works, work with the community, and most importantly, so we know what we're gonna recommend. We're not in a point where we can recommend saying this is the way to go or not to go. And what we need is that information in detail. Next slide. So, fortunately, during this time, we reached out to contractors and architects in town and identified a cost estimator. And we won't go through the website, but Tochi is a very experienced building project manager. Our architects know them and feel strongly about them. What they would do for $6,000 is a level 2 estimate, and I know I sent this to you earlier in the packet, but a lot of detail breaking down what's involved. We've got the old cost estimate, we have a schematic design, and then we'd have a site visit with them, and then a consultation, phone consultation, and then we could have some pushback, so we have a real sense of what's involved in the cost, both for housing and for offices and all that stuff. And that's what we really need to know what's feasible. Because $2 million is very different than over $3 million or whatever, and that's what we're playing with. They're ready to go, and so and we don't feel that we can really move forward with any proposal, any discussion, unless we've got that information. What we've got is kind of seat of the pants information, your basic rules of thumb. So that's where we are. So what we want to do is proceed with those 2 cost estimates with Tochi. And they will have a site visit. They've sent us a sample contract, which obviously Tim would sign, not me. But you know, you're empowered, the select Highland Building Committee is empowered to do this. And we need those steps so we can get to what is possible and make an informed presentation. So this goes back to the original charge. What do we do with Highland? Which is, as you know, has been talked about for probably 40 years, and at least, and so that's where we are. And as I said, that's what they think they can do this in the next 2 months. That we get that information, then we'd have then we try to, as a committee, come up with a plan, talk that through, meet with the school committee, and this all fits in with all the overall master planning process. So that's where we are. So thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
Oh boy, you broke it.
Yeah, no. There we go. Guess I should get the lights.
Good thing there are rollers on here, huh? Right. All right, well, why don't we, get a motion on the floor, and then we can open it up for discussion. Who'd like to make the motion?
I move that the select board provide a sum not to exceed $6,000, excuse me, from available funds to the Highland Building Committee for the purpose of funding a consultant to provide cost estimates for possible reuse scenarios for the Highland Building.
Second, someone? And it's been seconded, so let's open it up for discussion. We just go around the board, see who has a question or comment?
Well, I'm on the committee, so.
That doesn't prohibit you from.
No, but I have no comments. I mean,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Kate or Nathan?
I have a quick question is, it says $6,000 from funds available to the Highland Building Committee. Where are those funds coming from? How are they, is this like from the old
Yeah.
allocation from CPC?
Yeah, more than likely, it would be a surplus capital funds were left over from previous projects,
Okay,
so.
so it's not something that
Wouldn't be- it wouldn't
previously
be
had been
new.
allocated
Yeah.
to Highland?
It would not be new money.
0 was allocated to us.
David, do you have any comments or questions?
Yeah, I have a few. Can you hear me?
They can.
Yep.
Loud and clear.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so, John, so the first question, is, have you had any discussions with school committee, about other uses of the land? If the building was demoed, do they have any ideas about making a bigger park, playground, or some other use of the land as opposed to putting up a building or parking?
Not with the school committee, obviously with Christine Lear is on our committee and with the superintendent, and we've not kind of gone through any of that discussion of what the school might want to use the land for. So no, we have not had the discussion. But
Okay.
that could be
I
one.
mean, I don't think that discussion needs to pace us authorizing $6,000. So it's not, we can take that up with the committee. But I think it's something, in an analysis of alternatives, we should consider that the best solution may not be a building at all.
Correct.
The
That was the
second
demolition.
question, John, is 5 to 500, and Nathan might have asked that, I couldn't hear. Is $500 to $600 per square foot like the normal cost for a municipal building these days? Is that what we can expect,
I just
no matter
checked,
what we do?
yes, I just checked that actually with our neighbor architect, from the Now Group, Suzanne Spinney, and with the prevailing wage, that's, yes, with a fairly simple construction, you're gonna be talking the $500-600 square foot.
Okay, so whether you build,
Yep.
kind of whether you, I think I heard you say, and, John, if you can get closer to the phone so I can hear you. So it doesn't matter whether we renovate or we build new, we can expect that kind of cost, right?
No, if you looked at the presentation had basically in the $200 to $300 for renovation, and
Oh, okay,
and the
200 to 300,
opportunity,
okay,
and the
all right.
opportunity cost
All
is
right,
more
okay,
close to
good, I saw
500.
that. I saw that. So if we work with the 200 to 300, I guess it's a question maybe, listen, I think we should spend the 6,000. I just want to make sure we're framed at what we're doing. And I think that the thought piece for Kate and the Affordable Housing Trust is, what could you do with $2 to $3 million if we spent that on the Affordable Housing Trust as compared with, a renovation of Highland, or really anything. Is that a more effective way to get more housing stock into the community? But as I said, all those three comments I had I don't think are relevant to whether we pass this, authorize the funding. And that's it. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Kate or Nathan, did you have anything more you wanted to ask about?
No, I don't have any questions. What David said is a good question, but it doesn't
Yeah.
devolve onto this decision. That's for a later
Right.
decision. My other, I think, more important question, though, is I am concerned about the management, if it's housing, the management of it, going.
Yeah, no, and we have talked about that, and that essentially we're thinking about, and again, this is just conceptual, we haven't kind of worked with a not-for-profit like Carlisle Elderly Housing that we have, that you work through a not-for-profit that would manage it, and it actually might be, might be the shell that you'd go through, a not-for-profit type situation, that you set up housing that way, and then you have a whole management structure. And the important part is that people on the school committee and the school would be on that board, as would other town people, so that there's input, and it's not a sort of arm's length, but it's a, arms around sort of
Yeah,
situation.
because that is not without its problems,
No, of
as we
course
have
not.
discovered in our other example of that.
I guess I do have something if I
Sure,
could.
go ahead.
It's me. So I guess I look at it as there's really three options, right? One is demolish it. Number two is do something that's long-term, where do we want it to go? And I think that there's a third option of how can we get it used a little bit? You know, is there something we can do where we're putting a sprinkler system in there so that we can use it, but maybe we're not using the top floor, so we don't have to get it ADA compliant. And, you know, I think I'd walked through that a couple of years ago, no, last year, I think, a couple of years ago, COVID blended over a year, with John Mativier, and like, you know, can you make like that first floor inexpensively ADA compliant and put a bathroom there? And I think that there really was something that could be done that maybe is just kind of like not going for everything all at once, but getting the building used again, getting it safe again by having the sprinkler system in there, and getting a real value out of it, but maybe not going all the way to a $3 million, you know, dollar project.
So on that, we actually looked at that in the 2013-14 Highland Building Committee 3, which I don't think you were on,
No, I was not.
which is basically, could you do a stepwise type construction and renovation? And the answer from a code basically is no. It is not that cost effective, basically because you have to put the elevator in.
I think that you don't if you don't use the third floor.
No.
Okay.
You have
I'll
to put
talk
it,
to
and
Johnny.
you have to have an elevator in if you're using that, you know, you got the premier etage and, you know, just, you know, whatever.
The Fed chaussee.
Yeah, right, yeah, right, I should say, right, exactly.
All right, you
Yeah, right.
folks.
But, and also, Nathan, the building's been going backwards at a, kind of a rapid clip recently.
Yeah, I understand.
So,
I'm just throwing out kind of this other
yeah,
option.
I understand, I'm just,
Yeah.
but even the COA has taken their hard goods out of the basement because it's not an adequate space for storage. So.
I just worry that we go to town meeting, we come up with an idea that's $3 million, we go to town meeting and it's shot down again, then what do we do? Right?
Right.
You know, if there's
Right, but
something
that gets
in
into the old
in the middle. I
financial
can talk to you about it
structure,
later.
but that's a
'cause-
whole other set of
Yeah.
discussion.
I have one question for you,
Sure.
John. Just, when you met with the superintendent and the current school committee chair, and then you said recently you'd met with Sarah Wilson,
Right.
what is the current, you know, response that you're getting, or their current thinking about the Highland Building?
Obviously, they're three different people, so it
Yes.
varies.
Yes.
And so I would say, essentially, the superintendent says, until we have more information, taking it to the full school committee does not make sense. We need to
Okay.
kind of flesh that out. And Christine, when she was chair, certainly agreed with that. And,
Okay.
but keeping them informed, and Sarah had lots of other questions and was understanding what some of the housing needs were and so those issues. But essentially, there was an agreement that we need to kind of really figure out what we're gonna do, what we might recommend, what's involved, and all the sort of details that would naturally come up. And you'd have to have a whole packet, because as you know, school committee could at most maybe have 2 30-minute sections in 2 school committee meetings
Yes.
to discuss it.
Okay, good, thanks. I'm glad to hear that that's where the school committee is, and they're looking forward to a,
Yeah, and I've been
Detailed.
copying them on what's
Yeah,
been going
good.
on and keeping them in the loop, so, you know, the new, I don't think they've elected the new chair yet, but,
I don't know if they have yet. Okay, good. If we don't have any more discussion, I think we're ready to take a vote. All right, hearing none, we're gonna do a roll call vote. Arnold, aye.
Oskalilowai?
Brown eye?
Odell, aye.
Reed, aye.
All right, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Odell, aye.
right, thank you.
Thank you, David.
Doing it, try it.
Thank you.
All right, thanks a lot, John.
John,
And thank you to the committee for all the hard work you're going through for yet the 4th time. All right. David, can you hear me? This is Barney. Or
Where is he?
Tim, maybe you can ask him how far away he is. We were supposed to, I'll move down. I'll take something else.
I hear you.
yeah, Barney asked, where are you?
How far away?
How far away, time-wise?
Oh, I'm far away. Just keep going.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm far away.
Okay. Well, we'll hold off on the elections till the end if you think you're gonna make it. I'll just keep cheering. Okay, then let's go to the, item 8.
Yeah, just keep going. Don't count on, this is far away. I was far away, so
Okay,
just just let's keep going.
Is everybody else comfortable if we just, go on to 8 and then we'll do the elections at the end?
I think we're close to 8 o'clock.
Yeah, okay. Let's, go to, the ARPA committee, and, Tim, I'm going to, ask you to just give us a quick overview of what you're proposing as the charge. We've all had it.
Sure.
So, thank
And
you.
I've revised it somewhat since I first presented it to the board. And I would propose a 3-member committee comprised of a select board member, a finance committee member, and 1 citizen, representative. I attached both the interim and the final guidance from the government. I think we can all see that it's going to be a bit of an undertaking to find projects that are eligible, for the town. I'm also recommending that the town administrator, finance director, police and fire chiefs, other department heads act as resources to the committee, although I think I pointed out, I did consult other communities that, finding out how they were setting up similar committees, and a lot of those committees, don't share my reservations with having department heads on the committee. They figured that the eligibility is pretty tightly drawn, and the public safety agencies are going to be in the mix for eligible projects, and they know the needs of the town best, and, why not have them part of that discussion? So there's really, a number of ways to go at it. I took a stab at a charge, and it's really designed to keep us out of trouble, and that we only would fund eligible projects and in the categories that are described in the legislation, and that one of our goals is, the benefit or the added value to the town of Carlisle, in addition to it being an eligible project, what are we getting really the best value out of this program for the town? And there'll be, a lot of record keeping, and the new accountant's gonna be a very busy woman. I think Priscilla smiled a little bit when she saw how long the guidance was for this program, knowing that she's gonna be departing in September. But that, again, that's my draft at the moment would be 3 members. I think, to me, if you've got a small, tight committee that, decisions tend to get made rather than when you've got a big board. It's kind of hard sometimes it can be a little cumbersome if you've got too many people at the table. And this is gonna be pretty much vetting, projects to recommend to you as the select board. So I think they're gonna wanna be somewhat nimble and able to recommend a program of projects to you that make financial sense, that are eligible, and also, provide, benefit to the community. So, that's the current draft. I mean, it's subject to revision again, of course, and, we can take our time with this charge because, we've got some time before the program, rolls out. And you've got a few years really actually to spend the money, as well. So that's what I recommend to the board at this point. I think we can talk about the charge going forward, but the composition, I would recommend those 3, the select board, finance committee, and a citizen. If the board is comfortable expanding that to include department heads and the finance director and town accountant, that's certainly valid as well. As I said, a number of towns are doing it that way. They're not, excluding those groups as voting members. They think they add value to the community, to the committee, rather.
All right. Thank you,
Okay.
Tim.
Yep.
So
I
let's,
have a quick question.
yeah,
I actually did read this stupid thing, and,
the guidance.
Yes. On the page 122, it says, "The Treasury expects to provide technical assistance to defray the costs of administration of fiscal recovery funds to further mitigate burden." Was it your sense, Tim, I don't know if you, that we could actually charge some administrative time to this, to the ARPA funds? I mean, that we could actually get some, you know, because if our town accountant needs,
Yeah,
you
yeah, I
know,
think that was, kind of a little bit of the drawback with the previous program, is that it all sort of fell on the accountant to,
but this doesn't explicitly say that you can actually charge that.
yeah.
Administrative
Our
assistant,
understanding
but
is that you could hire, you know, your auditors to do the financial reporting end of it, and then it wouldn't necessarily fall on town staff to,
Yeah.
to get
because I
it
think that'll be
right. Because that,
important, otherwise it's.
you wouldn't
like-
want to make a mistake, you know, with federal reporting, and then, you know.
Yeah, right.
Our understanding is that it can be spent on, you know, consulting fees and, as you say, administrative expenses. And actually the hiring of, you know, employees to deal with it. A number of the bigger cities, I think Somerville is one, they're advertising for their Arpa coordinators.
Okay.
They've
so-
posted the jobs already,
All
so.
right,
Yeah.
All right, so we can then charge that back. So
Yes, we
that's
can,
an
yeah.
important,
Yes, it is, yeah.
and I think we should, take advantage of that.
Other comments, questions?
And other things.
What we, you know, we're not voting tonight,
No.
on the actual charge, which we should discuss a little further and see if, you know, there are any sort of adjustments or changes we want to make. But Tim, what I'm hearing from you is that, we may want to decide tonight what the makeup of the committee is gonna be. And,
Right, and how, you know, whether you want to expand it from what I was
Yeah.
suggesting, or, you know.
yeah,
And so it's not clear to me, Tim, what you think about whether or not we should expand it.
Well, my initial thinking was that it was better to use the public safety department heads and school superintendent as resources to advocate, you know, vigorously for their own projects, but not to have a vote. And, you know, then naturally you'd want to vote for your projects and, you know, maybe you'd vote for other eligible projects, maybe you wouldn't. But I think most communities say, well, you know, there are going to be so few eligible projects, and these are the people that know what the town needs, that, you know, maybe there'd be some advantage to having, you know, your police chief, your fire chief, your school superintendent as part of the committee. You know, they're all, you know, gonna want to, you know, to weigh in, certainly. And then I think they had the opportunity, whether they were, you know, part of the committee. I mean, I think the committee would listen to them, because they've got credibility.
And then, as you point out, if they're on there, then you've got different quorum issues and, you know, harder.
Well,
to get
there's something,
meetings
yeah,
possibly
nice about a
scheduled.
three-member committee, because two's a quorum, and, you know, it, you don't have to convince 8 people of, you know, anything. It's, I generally think smaller is better, you know, when you're putting a subcommittee together, you know, you can get to a decision quicker, but, this will be the group that's advising you as the select board, and you'll have the final call if you think they're all wet, you know, you can say, you know, support, you know, go back to the drawing board and bring us new projects.
yeah.
Or,
What if we had somebody that, you know, was a staff member, but was part of the LEPC committee, and that was presented by them saying, hey, we want to have, this is the person who's going to represent us.
The LEPC?
LAPC, yeah.
Ah,
So
the
let's
Emergency
just
Preparedness Committee, so.
Adding one more member there, then.
Yeah,
the
and that would be a
LEPC.
staff member, though.
Oh, a staff.
But representing, so it would either be Brian or John, or, you know, somebody that committee decided would
That's
be
on
their
there.
representative. Because
Yeah,
they've
which
just gone
is-
through the whole thing.
That's true.
Right, so they're gonna, you know, they have a really good view into across all the departments, what's going on, right? Because had been meeting weekly.
Right, but even if you put both chiefs on, I mean, that only brings it up to 5. Not volunteering you for more stuff, but that only brings it up to 5, right?
Well, what about the health board? You know, then, I think it's,
Well-
you get, well, EOH should then be on it. Well, I'm being,
Yeah, I'm not sure, 'cause I'm not sure what facilities they necessarily
yeah.
have.
no, but
But their expenses.
Their
Yeah,
expenses, the
and
ARPA
what they-
thing is all
yeah.
for, you know, all the services and the,
It's a slippery slope.
It
with
is.
Board of Health.
That's why I was thinking, it's just, there's one representing all of them.
That's a better way of handling it.
Yeah. I guess.
And how would that,
So
if it's a staff person, then it would be an employee that also serves on the LAPC.
Mhm.
That's what you're
Well, there are,
thinking.
well, there's.
No,
Chair.
because you
Oh,
and
Tim?
I and,
The
Yeah,
chief
well,
is the
Tim
chair.
I was gonna
on the
say.
LAPC.
Yeah, maybe it makes sense to have a
Yeah.
chair,
This is the
right?
chair, and
Right. Yeah.
There's,
He's the coordinator, right?
Yep.
Yeah. The emergency
chief.
management, right? Coordinator, is that what?
I've forgotten his
Emergency
title, yeah,
management.
but,
Yeah, I think it's coordinator, yeah,
Yeah.
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 David, do you have any thoughts on this? Mind, I think maybe you can hear better when you're speaking.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes,
I'm fine with three. I'm fine with the three-member committee and then calling in the, experts from the department as needed.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that
That's
was
it. I voted.
yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too, just,
Me too.
I'm thinking partly it's just, the three-member group and, no particular, oar in the water for any particular,
Yeah.
department or,
Mhm.
I read it, and they will be notified of every single meeting, and I would say expected to be there.
yeah, absolutely. I would think that they
More than
would,
invited,
Yeah.
sort of expected to be there to, submit the items and give advice.
So what is the proposal now? Because this says one select board member, one finance committee member, one school committee member. You're saying it's
Sorry.
select
You know
board,
what the-
finance.
Oh,
that's an older version. So in your packet, you have, the
This is
first
from the
page
packet.
is an
Keep
old
flipping.
version, but go to the next time you see the memo.
this one here.
Yeah, and that one has the correct,
Okay.
the latest, yeah. So it's one select board member, one finance committee member, and one citizen. And I did check in with Jim Dar, earlier in the week, and they're meeting tomorrow night, and he said he thought this seemed reasonable, and they would discuss it tomorrow night, or Thursday night. Do we want to take a vote on the committee, membership tonight? Again, there's not a rush, but
I think
we
we
could
should
go ahead
just
and do
vote
that
on-
tone and then
Should just
if,
vote it on it all at once, the charge and the.
want to
members.
wait and do it all at once?
I think Tim has a sense that this is fine as the
Mhm. Okay.
makeup.
Yeah, it's
This is
not time sensitive.
Okay,
So,
so
yeah.
the sense of the board at this point seems to
Sounds
be
like
that
a
we're gonna go with this
three-person.
three-member group, but we'll wait till we have the charge fully, kind of discussed and, ready to go, and then we'll vote on it at a future select board meeting. Do you think, Tim, we should be thinking about the next select board meeting, or because there's not a rush, do you want to wait and put it on for one of the August meetings?
Well, we may have just the one August meeting if one session is with Mark Way, so. Certainly, yeah, then probably for, the other meeting, yeah, I think,
The other August meeting?
yeah, I think that's
Okay.
reasonable,
So
yeah.
when we get, just a reminder to all of us, when we get to that,
Maybe we can get Priscilla to be the citizen.
uh,
Yeah, no, I know she'll say no, but.
I doubt it.
I was thinking of Bill.
oh, Bill, on every board we have, right? But just when we get down to the town administrator's report, we're gonna review briefly the agenda for the next meeting. So just keep that in the back of your mind as we go along here. But we'll talk about bringing the ARPA committee back for that second meeting in August. Okay, great. Let's move on to the personnel committee, personnel policies. And thank you, Kate, for all the work that you and Donna have done on this. I did a little bit, but you really took the lead on it, which is great. So what we're doing is we're looking at revisions to the town of Carlisle's personnel policies. There are a lot of policies, and a fair number of revisions. Kate went through, and identified some of the kind of key questions or changes that are in these. And what I thought we could try to do tonight, we're not gonna get through all of this tonight, but we've set aside, what did we set aside? 25 minutes, I think? Actually, 45 minutes, yeah. So we're, and you know, we're pretty close to, no, except that we skipped those. Anyway, I'm rambling. Anyway, yes, so let's say we've got, 30 to 40 minutes on the personnel policies, and so I expect we'll dive into them tonight, but we will then continue at a subsequent meeting. So Kate has provided an outline here of what some of the key questions or changes. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, Kate, to walk us through that, and we'll see how far we get.
So, as you all know, we have a new personnel bylaw. A lot of the, old bylaw was really policies. And so now they're kind of, some of the things came out of the bylaw are in the policies. They were actually also in the policies, but it was very weird to have things both in the bylaw and in the policies. So now the two are totally separate, which I think is a big improvement. Some of these things, these questions are very easy. One, I went through all the comments and everything, and so some of them are just things that we have to plug in, like number one, where we need to include the name of persons to whom the complaints of sexual harassment can be made. And Tim, being the head of personnel, seemed like the likely choice, and I talked to him about it, and he's willing. But Donna was saying that sometimes women would prefer to talk to another woman, and she suggested maybe Jen. So I've asked Tim to ask Jen, and I have also asked Jen if she'd be willing, and they are. So if we thought that was a good idea, we could just incorporate that, and we could take that off our list. So I don't know if you want to do these
Anybody
all at
want to
once, or-
discuss that, or should we just, are we comfortable with that?
With it.
Okay.
Yep, all
Okay,
right.
so that's all.
David, if you can hear me, just speak up. If we go through one of these and you want to comment, let me know. Can you hear that?
I will, but I'm gonna try to just listen.
Okay,
I think they did a fine job.
good.
Okay.
Thank you.
So the
All right,
next, the
so-
next question is, do we want to include a non-sexual harassment policy? It's not required by law, but Donna said it was recommended, and if so, again, I've already told Donna, put it in, because it's easier to take things out than to put them in later, and if so, then we need a non-sexual harassment, names of persons to whom those complaints are made, and I would recommend Tim's name be in there, again. And if it's non-sexual harassment, I doubt that we need a second person, but that's, up for discussion.
And the actual policy that's listed here, is this a boilerplate that Donna has provided to us?
Yes.
The town council? Okay.
I'm sorry, this is really hard to read.
It is, unfortunately. Okay.
Okay.
Well, so the first question is, do we want to include a non-sexual harassment policy? And I would say yes. Anybody opposed to having that in the personnel policies? All right, so then I would.
I
Go
mean, ultimately,
ahead.
does it cover everything, any form of harassment other than
Sexual harassment?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like Nathan on the board, right, we could.
When he harasses us?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, publicly, yeah.
I don't think-
But
I
I
don't
mean,
think we
that's
should
the
have it
idea
in there.
behind it, right? What's
That's
that?
right.
Yeah, okay.
That's right.
In that case.
Other kinds of harassment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of,
Yeah, no, exactly, yeah.
Yeah,
so I think it's important, especially in this day and age.
I do too.
So if we're all in agreement, then are we also in agreement to let Tim be the fall guy on this one? The butt of the.
And you're
all the
accepting
complaints.
this challenge?
Accepting the,
Tim?
the
Okay,
responsibility.
Just,
Well,
go ahead.
Just a quick question, is it confusing to have, if it's sexual harassment, I go to one person, if it's, I'm just wondering, does it make sense just to have it just be one person if you think there's harassment? And it
Yeah.
always be just that one person, so there's no, it's just clear.
Well, in it, it says.
Somebody may think, oh, I'm not sure if this was or was sexual harassment, or,
I see what you're saying.
it's just clear. If you think there's any form of harassment at all, you're
Go to
going,
this person,
yeah.
Yeah.
or this I guess, yeah,
Right.
still
This
offering
or
the
the-
option of a
Well,
woman or a man.
Yeah, but you should also have an alternate too, because what if the harasser
Is
is,
one of those two
yeah,
positions.
yeah. No offense, Tim. Right? But also too, there needs to be an option if somebody's harassing, right, Tim or Jen? But it's more so if, say
Tim is
Tim is doing
harassing
that,
someone
right?
else.
So, yeah, I think having two, nice. I think having two makes sense.
David, you're
Hey,
having
David.
fun.
I think that's Tim's ringtone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. When Dave calls, it's only when Dave calls.
Ah,
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't remember which.
all right, so, well, it's
Okay.
here, it's on,
Okay.
it's 14.1.
Yeah.
It is hard to read, though.
Yeah.
But,
There we go.
right, so, all right, so how would we sort that out then? We would
It'd
say,
be Jen with Tim as a backup, or any one of us, if somebody didn't feel comfortable going to them,
Right.
Yeah.
because ultimately we're
We were the
responsible,
ones they
right?
were complaining about. Yeah, they'd have to have
Right,
someone.
well, and then you guys would need a place to go too, right? Which
That's
would be
right.
us, yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if somebody's harassing you, right?
That's
Jen's
true.
harassing you, right? You
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
come to us.
That's right.
So,
Okay.
that seems
So
to make
let me-
sense. Yeah, and maybe we ask
So
Donna
we'll,
how to,
Fix this.
yeah,
So Jen, Tim, or a board member.
member of the
Backup.
board, yeah.
Yep.
And then it's Tim, Jen, member of a board.
Yeah.
I would say probably the chair.
I think any member of
Any
the
member of
board.
the
Yeah, I
board,
think any
okay.
member.
Yeah,
All
again,
right.
because the person might feel more
Gotcha.
comfortable with one or another.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, I will
All
get
right.
that changed. We
Okay.
need an ADA coordinator, and again, I don't see, Tim, do you want to designate somebody, or are you gonna take that on?
No, I thought I was the AD
Yeah,
coordinator,
okay.
not that, yeah.
Well, it wasn't in the old policy, and it wasn't in the bylaws, so.
So in,
I'm trying to write it
Usually it
in.
was in
in all
both,
these
yeah.
cases, we're listing it as the personnel director.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's-
right.
yeah.
I
Nobody,
know.
yeah, by
Title, yeah.
position, by title.
Position, yeah.
Gotcha.
Exactly, but
Yeah,
I'm just.
yeah, no, I get it.
My shorthand.
Yeah.
Okay, do we want to add?
the paid holiday.
Juneteenth as another paid holiday, or do we want to delete something else? And I'm suggesting Columbus Day, because Columbus Day is as a state and not a federal holiday. And, the question also is, what is the cost to add another holiday if we don't eliminate a holiday?
I think this needs to be a decision a little bit more than just the time we have
I agree.
right here.
And we need more
Because I don't know
information.
how it might impact contracts we have.
Right.
Yeah.
So what are the
Then it'd have
things?
to be bargained with the unions as well.
Right.
Yeah,
You could make a policy for the non-union people, but then you'd have to deal with both of your unions.
Right, and so that might just be an extra holiday. I mean, I'd hate to add another holiday, but, it's like, how do we, I don't know. I think that's something we really want to kind of get a feel from the staff
I
on.
agree.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
And
I,
understand
And
the
also,
ramifications from a contractual perspective.
Yep.
Yeah, and also I would want us to be consistent with both groups. I wouldn't want to have one policy for non-union and then have the
right.
Right.
contract employees have a different.
The thing is that we've already voted to accept Juneteenth as a holiday for the town, so I just want to make sure that gets put into the policy somewhere in some form.
But it's,
I think we could take that, what I would suggest, because I'm kind of anxious to get over, not tonight necessarily, but in the next 4 weeks or so, I'm anxious to get the policies adopted. We could take that particular one out. I think it's better to have, or have the wrong policy and change it and have it adopted at least so that we have a policy. You know what I'm trying to say?
I mean, the overall
Yes,
personnel policy,
yeah.
and just
I
take
would
out
like-
this
I just
question
don't
if
want to
we,
hold the whole policy up
Right.
for one
Yeah,
question.
for one thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, why don't we, let's see
So I
how,
will
where we get,
yeah.
on, answering some
So
of the
this-
questions.
I'm gonna put hold on this.
Yeah.
Okay. The current policy says that Saturday holidays are observed on the preceding Friday. And according to council, this is not the norm. Typically, Saturday holidays are observed on the Saturday. And it's only if a holiday falls on a Sunday that it's moved to the following Monday.
So you're saying that typically, 4th of July is on a Saturday, staff don't get a day off?
That's right.
Where does that happen?
Well, I think she means typically in other towns. I'm not
Yeah.
saying typically in this town, because here in this town, they get Friday off. So,
Right. So I think we need to look at this one as well in the light of,
I think we can look at 4 and 5 together.
yeah, that's
Okay.
what I was gonna say too.
All right.
That, the whole question of holidays and holiday, yeah, and the
Okay.
Saturday holidays.
all right, section 14 is a whole brand new boilerplate from DOT about, oh, sorry, that's non-sexual harassment policy.
Yeah. Oh, wait, maybe it's,
It's okay, we get the idea.
Okay, anyway, substance abuse, a certain number of visits for substance abuse, and it's in the it is in the DOT policy.
is it the alcohol and drug testing,
Yeah.
drug-free workplace? That's like
19.
page
Yeah.
26, yeah, 19 and 20, it looks like.
How much does a visit cost?
That's something we'll have to find.
19 and 20.
Probably a specialist copay rather than a regular one, would be my guess, but, so it's at $45, something like that.
19.
Things have changed since since I wrote my memo. I think she must have reformatted everything again.
So it's 3 days off and 3 days of paying for the,
No, it's just, it's 3 visits, it's a paying just for the visits to the substance abuse person, so it could be an hour after work, for all we know, but it's a professional substance abuse
okay.
counselor.
So this is the substance
I don't
abuse
know enough about the
professionals,
topic
yeah.
to be able to know if 3 days is enough or not.
But I thought there was, didn't Donna say that the towns that she'd reviewed, it was somewhere between 3 and 5?
Yes,
Yeah, that was the sort of standard or common
yeah.
number of visits. And have we been, this is a whole new
It's a
section?
whole new section.
So we have not offered anything like this in the past, is that right, Tim? Yeah.
No.
And you're supposed to, I mean.
Yeah,
you're
and I
supposed
think
to
it's
be-
an important thing that we should do.
And I'm sorry, I didn't read the entire thing. I'm sorry, but I've confessed that. But I did read this summary.
And I
That's
gave
what
you the
happens.
Cliff Notes.
That's what happens when you give a Cliff Notes, right?
Yeah.
So is it specific as to whether or not they're like during work hours or after work hours?
No, it's
hours? Okay.
No. It's just, I think, the copay for the visit.
From
But
the
you know what,
assumption would
I will
be-
check, you know what, I'm gonna
I
check
just don't want
that.
there to be a fight about this in the future, you know, we're trying to do a good thing, and
Yes.
I'd have no problem, actually, if it's during work hours, but I just think we should be specific.
Right.
You know, either it's sick time that they're taking, or,
Is,
I think it's page 44, right? Employee Assistance Program, is that what it falls under? Page 44?
employee assistant program, okay. I can't read this.
Okay.
Oh, the SAPs, okay. That's the substance abuse professionals. We're supposed to give them, you know, the names of the SAPs, information regarding his town employee assistance
Yeah,
program.
here, and it's at the top of page 45, yeah, so it is in this section where it says the town will pay up to 3 visits to an SAP for those who voluntarily refer themselves to the program. Any additional visits must be paid for by the employee or through the employee's health insurance plan, if applicable.
So it looks like we're paying the whole thing, not just the copay.
how much is that?
Yeah, I wonder. So let me ask, actually, Tim, could you find out how much that is?
Okay. Yeah, I think it's $45, but I'll find out.
Yeah, because is this something the insurance would cover? So we would just pay the copay, right? We wouldn't have to pay the full amount, I would think. right, yeah. Yeah, so it's really two questions, right? Does insurance
Is
cover
it
it?
specific, like, what if somebody
Yeah.
says, but I don't want it to be, I don't want to record it, I want it to be anonymous, I don't want it to go through my health
You know,
insurance?
yeah.
What do we do?
We pay the 3 and that's it, because
Yeah.
the rest of it, they have to pay for.
Right, I know, that's why, if it's not through the insurance, it just may be more. I'm not sure we want to assume that insurance is covering it, because somebody may want it to be anonymous. Right, it's a benefit we're
see.
offering,
Yeah, but
Right.
Yeah.
yes. It
so can we
looks-
say, well, if you're not going to go through your insurance company, we're not going to offer you the benefit?
No, I don't think we could say that. I just don't, why wouldn't somebody want to go through the insurance? What's the anonymity piece?
Yeah, just
But
maybe
how?
somebody,
What?
maybe somebody just doesn't want it on their health record. I don't know, I don't know, I'm
Yeah.
just trying to. the
Yeah,
way I
but
look at
insurance
things
in
is what
in and of
could
itself is
happen.
private too,
Yeah.
right? So, I mean, like, you know,
Well, actually, if this,
you can't see your spouse's stuff
Honestly-
either. I mean, like, it's pretty anonymous.
Okay, if you don't
Anyway.
think it's an issue, I'm just,
Yeah, well, I don't think it is, but I mean, maybe we could look into that.
the thing is, though, and it says, we'll pay it for those who voluntarily refer themselves to the program. So
Yeah.
if they don't want to have anybody know about it, they won't voluntarily refer themselves to the program and we won't pay for it. And then, right?
right, that's the program though, not the insurance.
Um,
I'm not trying to, I'm just,
but then their
Yeah.
insurance is that we don't have any control to what they do with their insurance.
Yep. No, right.
okay.
But if they don't do any of these things, we can fire them because they have to do this stuff.
Right, the
to
whole-
keep
Yeah,
their
The
exactly.
rest
job.
of it, right.
Right.
Right, I guess I would fall on a little bit more relaxed of just understanding how much is the visit and and we'll pay for the visit. If, depending upon how much that visit is, and take away all those questions.
Except they have to come to us to ask for us to pay for it.
Yep.
Okay,
Because this makes it pretty clear,
We have
it
to go
says
to-
well,
that we will pay for up to 3, the town will pay for up to 3 visits. And if they voluntarily refer themselves, and then it very specifically says any additional visits must be paid for by the employee or through the employee's health insurance. So it doesn't, it suggests that those first 3
not through health
visits are on our
it's on
dime.
our dime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
which I think that's
How
a
much
very
of the whole visit?
reasonable way,
Mm.
yeah. That seems very reasonable to me. So, can we move on then? We
Okay,
just,
we
we're
have
just
more
gonna check
information.
out the
summarize, I think
cost.
what I'd be inclined to do is pay for the whole visit. Understanding first how much it costs, pay
Yes.
for the whole
Yeah.
visit and going for 5.
Oh, and going for 5.
Yeah. I mean, this is an important
Yeah,
thing that we can
okay.
do for our employees.
All right.
How do others
So-
feel about 5 visits?
I don't know how much it is yet, so I don't know that I'm
Right,
saying go to
right,
5.
but
Yeah.
if, depending on the cost,
Right, right.
yeah. Actually, I'm with you on that. I think if somebody has a
Okay.
difficulty, that's reasonable.
For our next meeting, we need to know how much the visits cost. And then we'll
Yes.
decide
Yeah.
on 3 or 5.
And we could always set a ceiling, I suppose, right, on the cost? I mean, suppose it could
Well, if it's
depend on
too
who you
much,
go
then-
see, right?
I think, then we go to 3.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Okay. All right, next question is, do we want to establish a sick leave bank rather than having our extended sick leave policy? So a sick leave bank, what happens is, if you accrue a lot of sick leave and you get up to you bump up on the max sick leave, you know, you can donate a day or 2, and usually there's a max, I think it's up to usually 3, depending on who you, or where you're working. CCHS has one of these. You can donate it to a sick leave bank, and then if somebody else, let's say, gets cancer or something and needs more sick leave than they have in their own account, they can file a request to be covered by the sick leave bank. And if there's enough days in the sick leave bank, and if a board, there's usually a committee, it's usually one of the union members or the, you know, it's a small board that usually takes those requests under advisement, and they say yay or nay, whether they can have those sick leave days. In a way, it is a long-term illness insurance policy in certain respects, which costs us something, but not as much as, you know, actually some other things could cost us. I think it's a nice benefit for employees. It's different from the extended leave. Extended leave, you also get to your end, but, and you also have to apply for it, right, Tim? And then still somebody has to decide, but then that really comes out of our pocket. It's, in a way, it's not, to me, unpaid sick leave that's been put into a bank is still kind of like,
But it's time.
it's different kind of an expense, let's put it.
I think it's still the same kind of expense, right? Because you
Yeah.
still have, you're still paying somebody who's not here.
Yeah, you are.
So it's still direct pocket out of, but it certainly benefits them. Are there certain types of sicknesses that are eligible?
I think it depends on what it is. I mean, like,
Yeah,
if you had
it
a
starts
terrible
getting
car
tricky,
accident.
Right, or
Yeah.
if somebody, somebody's sick a lot, can they
Right.
apply?
No, it's for no, I don't, it's not for that. It is for a long-term
Yeah.
health
Right.
thing. It's not if, you're the kind of guy, or,
Right, no, and
I'll
so,
do every 4 days a month.
yeah, so that's the thing, there would need to be a gatekeeper,
There
but
is a
then,
gate-
right, and we'd have to kind of set up parameters for that
Absolutely.
gate, so it's not just their decision, right?
Yes.
We kind of have to have,
Absolutely.
and then ultimately somebody could appeal, right? And then they come to us sort of thing, right? If
Yes.
something isn't in
And-
that,
Also, we could run, there could be not enough days to cover them either.
right,
I mean, if there
Yeah.
haven't been enough donations for whatever reason,
right.
um,
Yeah, no,
Yeah, I just want to
Yeah.
be, so there is definitely a cost because
Mhm.
otherwise the sick leave just goes away, right? But now this keeps the sick leave on the books for the town. What is the
It does,
alternative? What's
but-
the existing extent, how does it work now?
I'm gonna let Tim explain that.
Is that, I was looking at that myself. Does that refer to the short-term disability policy? That's a voluntary.
The sick leave bank, well, it's on page 51.
I just- I-
51 and 52, 50, yeah, 51,
Admiration
52.
for you for being able to read that, Kate.
Well, I didn't. I was reading it on my thing, and then I printed out without all this garbage over here. No, it's got stricken out. There should be something with strikeout.
Yeah, that's what
So it's just like a short-term disability you're thinking, Tim?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm not seeing the language that was struck out,
I'm not
but,
seeing it either, but.
So this would be a totally new thing.
employees can voluntarily purchase a short-term disability policy.
Yeah. Oh, that's different. That's totally
Yeah,
different.
no, that,
Sick leave.
yeah. I think you could have a sick leave bank in addition to that, that wouldn't be,
Oh.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Isn't it more expensive than a sick leave bank? Have we looked at the cost of just providing an LTD
yeah.
policy and a fixed number of sick leave? I think Mass requires 56 hours of sick leave per employee per year, or something like that. So you have but those are expensive days if they're back to other people. Have we looked at that, I guess, is the question. Because LTD is pretty inexpensive coverage.
Yeah. All right, let me see if I can find the old section, because we had something called extended sick leave. And it was not like was not a policy. You had to come and say, I need more days than I own in my bank account here. And I think then maybe you had to pay him back or something like that after that.
Yeah, 24-5 is extension of sick leave, right?
Oh, yeah, there it goes. There it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you. I totally
That's
missed it.
not stricken.
It's not stricken.
no,
It
okay,
should be, if we do this.
This is just, the personnel board can decide to grant it.
right.
Right.
Oh, and the comment there says, Kate has asked if we
Yeah.
want to establish a sick leave bank.
Now this is it,
Yeah, okay,
That was my question.
got it.
I mean, 24.5 seems dangerous.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought a sick leave bank was a better bet, and I think it's,
I think
But-
looking into what short-term disability would be another.
Yeah,
good
short-term disability, long-term disability, and
okay, who would do that? Would that be, Tim, or would that be the insurance advisory board?
You know, I can take that up with the benefits person.
Okay.
Okay, the
Pricing
long-term
on that.
disability.
Yeah.
and-
Or short-term disability.
Or
Or
short-term,
short-term
yeah.
disability. And bank. Okay, so that,
Yeah.
Tim, you'll get us some information about that.
I will.
All right. Then we want to, military leave. There's a 26.0. General law, chapter 33.
Oh, here it is, page 53.
Yeah. And question is, do we want to adopt that, or do we want to just leave what we have?
It says it depends on what the law was when we accepted it. It would have been by a vote of town meeting.
Yeah, and I checked, and we have not accepted it.
Okay,
How does what we're offering matched with what the law?
It's not as good. The law is more generous.
I guess we need to know what that meant.
Okay, I'll get that law for you. Mind you, we don't have very many. Have to be a town employee who's in reserves and then gets
Mhm.
deployed or something. And
Also,
there's-
I think that we have it in some of our contracts, don't we? Some of our union contracts. Maybe we could take a look at that
Yeah.
language, make sure we don't go down the wrong, we don't
Yeah.
contradict something there.
Okay, yeah, so could you,
I think it's in the
yeah,
police, or maybe it's in the,
maybe the police, because they tend to be the ones that are in the reserves.
yeah,
You know,
it might be
things
the
like
school,
that.
though. I think it's one of the.
yeah,
other.
I want to say it's in the school too, yeah.
Okay. The thing is also, I think there's something in, as I recall, in this general law 33 about saving the job for a longer time than what we have in here. Because I frankly feel that that's very important, that those guys that get, shipped overseas don't have to worry that when they come back, they don't have a job.
Right, no, I agree 100%.
I mean, I know
Back to a
I'm
job,
biased because
yeah.
I have a kid in the, but, all right.
yeah.
So we need to look at that. So that's not ready. And I'm willing to take, honestly, I think all of these, if we had to even take them out of the policy and do the rest of them, then we put these back in. Okay. 30, small necessities leave.
And that sort of goes with number 11, right? If we add the small necessities leave, you're saying, should we
Should we then
strike
strike
the paid personal time off?
Right.
So that's 31.
Now, Donna put the small necessities leave in. I don't know where she got it, or if it, maybe it was already
Eligible.
in there. But at any rate, it's a very weird thing, and I thought it was new, I don't think it was in our old one. And it, like, you could take your, son or daughter if they're under 18, but if your son or daughter is 20 years old, you have to take them have their wisdom teeth, extracted, you can't do it under this. And I thought, I didn't care for this whole small necessities leave. And I think it, honestly needs to either be changed. I mean, a kid should be a kid, I don't care how old it is, and a spouse should be a spouse, I don't care how old they are.
Like, can't we just rotate, can't we just put in under personal leave, the ability to, if
Yeah.
it's use of personal leave is if there's an immediate family member?
Yeah, okay, so,
And I
mean.
think that's also in contracts, in
Yeah.
some of our employment.
All right, I just felt they were
Actually might be in
redundant,
Brian's.
and these two were redundant and
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, I think it's just,
Okay, so I I
So-
can work with Donna and get 31 and 32.
The personal
Kind
leave
of-
is for personal purposes, right?
Right.
It doesn't have to
It
be
doesn't-
for just them, it could be for a family member, or
Exactly.
Now,
you can just
Tim,
take the time.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
is this the one, though, where you raised, that there might be a concern about changing the personal leave,
The,
the paid
well,
personal time off?
The PTO time, it's really, it's the equivalent of vacation time for those employees that are not full-timers that work. They do qualify after a year, they've been here a year, they qualify for paid time off, which is kind of prorated,
Yeah.
annual leave. So I guess I wouldn't, we'd have to be careful about eliminating that if we're,
I'm sorry, I thought this was,
Well-
I thought this whole section was, Kate, I thought you said this section was added.
Small necessities was added. It wasn't in our old one.
It's not
No,
here.
No,
No, but
but
I-
number 11 was
Okay.
saying, do we strike the paid personal time off
Right,
if
well,
we
because
add
they were-
small necessities?
Right, because
And,
they-
and
they-
Tim is raising the
I think we
concern.
do it the other way around.
Yeah,
The small
exactly.
necessities wasn't in there. It's odd though that this markup
Yeah,
looks like it's different, because there's other things that are clearly added.
Yeah, and for some reason, this one doesn't look clearly added, but they're certainly redundant and they overlap a lot, and I don't see the different.
I think we make personal leave a little bit more broad.
More
Yeah,
broad.
I agree.
Okay, so we're not, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna
The
take the two of them.
concept is good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And I will put those together.
okay. Hey, we're doing
And
pretty
somewhat-
well on time, too.
All right, and the
Just
last
a couple more
question.
minutes, yeah.
And whether we require the use of paid vacation and sick leave time before the family medical leave needs to,
That's standard, isn't it? For FMLA?
FMLA, well, okay, what's not, some people, or some places, if you're on FMLA, they pay the whole thing right off the bat, okay? But in some places, they say, before you can use the FMLA, you have to use up all your sick leave, so.
I guess I've only worked for places in the second one, so I don't know why.
This is not municipal, well, it's a, it's a
Yeah.
better, obviously, it's
What
a
do we do
better
now?
benefit.
Yeah, what do we do now?
I think, we allow people to take FMLA, even in increments. It doesn't have to be in, one, yeah, it doesn't have to be continuous. It could be, a day here, and even, an afternoon. And we don't require them to use their paid, leave before they can use FMLA. They can use it intermittently.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, I don't know if Dave was trying to say something. David?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with Tim. I think my experience is what Tim said, that you can use the, once you apply for FMLA and you're accepted, you have a bank of FMLA and you just use it. You're not being paid for it, so you just use it, whenever you want. It's like deciding when you're gonna be paid and when you're not gonna be paid. So you can, if you have 6 days left of vacation, normally people want to preserve paychecks, so they would probably anyway use the paid time off before they go to the unpaid time off. But there's no reason to restrict it that way, in my opinion.
So the answer to that question is we do not want to require the use of paid vacation and sick leave time before FMLA
Right,
kicks in.
I think.
Okay, so that's the answer.
Yep,
No. That was a question Donna asked me and I didn't know the answer. And I said, I have to discuss
All
that
right.
with the board.
all right,
Okay,
good.
so I think I will try to whip this, well, between Tim, you and I, maybe we'll have a meeting somewhere along the line.
Yeah.
Once you get,
Yeah, and
and I'll.
we can call
talk to
Donna if we need to,
And I
yeah.
would say also maybe our next presentation, maybe Donna should be present.
Sure, no,
Whenever
I'm
we
sure
do
she'd be
this, so that we
happy.
make sure that we've got everything correct, but I think we're on our way.
Good. All right,
And
well,
I
let's,
Appreciate
Thank you,
everybody.
Kate,
And I
yeah.
appreciate everybody's, attention and having read this, as difficult as it was. Thank you.
yeah, good, thank you. Well, the next item can be very quick, which is, so for the August 10th Select Board meeting, we've invited Mark Way, and he's accepted to help us develop the Select Board goals for this current fiscal year that we're in. And he would be doing that pro bono, which is terrific. He's a resident here in town and also does a lot of work with municipalities and on leadership development. So first of all, just confirming that everybody can do August 10th, and also that this is acceptable to everyone, that we take that select board meeting for this purpose.
Sure.
Sound good? All right. Great. You're
Nathan's still
checking a
checking his
calendar?
calendar.
Okay.
I already checked mine.
And then my thought is that at our next select board meeting, we might just do a quick discussion, a brief discussion about preparation for that August 10th. And some of you have already been thinking about goals and have,
I've already sent mine to you. My laundry list.
but I think that's a good thing to be doing. And I'll try to check in with Mark between now and our next meeting to see if there's anything specific that he wants to suggest in terms of preparation. And are you good with that date, Nathan?
I am.
Awesome. All right, good. That'll be on the list then for what we do on August 10th. Shall we go ahead and take the, shall we go ahead and do our elections, David? Just because it sounds like you're not gonna
Not gonna
make
make
it
it, yeah.
in person, so I think we should go ahead and do that.
How about we do it actually completely last, because technically he's supposed to take over, or whoever is, oh, you're already chair, never mind.
I'm fine with that. My ETA is 9:25, but I'm happy to do it now. Okay.
What do you think? Go ahead
I
and.
withdraw everything, I was just.
Okay, all right, yeah, let's go ahead and do it, David, if you're comfortable. So we are going to elect a chair for the select board, a vice chair, and a clerk. And it's just the members of the board that vote on this election. And the floor is open for nominations for the chair of the board.
I nominate Barney Arnold as chair of the select board.
A second.
All right, anyone else want to make a nomination? All right, I guess you don't have a discussion, really. All righty, well, let's go ahead and do a roll call vote on Barney Arnold as chair of the select board. Arnold, aye.
Oscar Lilloye?
Brown
David?
Say aye, David.
Is it my turn?
Yeah, your turn. You didn't hear me.
Yes.
Or now I can't hear it.
Okay, read aye.
Oh, excellent.
Okay.
And thank you all very much. I'm honored, and I will do my very best to have us work well as a team and represent our town to the best of our ability. All right, I'd like to open the floor for nominations for vice chair.
I nominate David Modell as vice chair of the select board.
Second?
So David, you've been nominated the vice chair, and it's been seconded. So we're going to take a roll call vote.
Well, there might, you have to ask for any other nominations.
Oh, thank you. Any other nominations?
Are you looking for your stuff behind you? You don't want to run that over.
No, that's
that's
actually Barney's
mine.
stuff.
Oh.
Any other nominations for vice chair? Hearing none, let's take a roll call vote on David Modell as the vice chair. Arnold, aye.
Oscar Lilloye?
Brown eye.
David?
Am I supposed to abstain?
No.
Nope.
You vote for yourself.
You can vote.
I don't know if I'm supposed to abstain or vote.
It doesn't matter, you've already won.
All right.
Read aye.
All right, we'll put that down as
Oh,
unanimous.
no, I-
All right, good. All right, that's done unanimously. And then let's open the floor for nominations for clerk.
I nominate Nathan Brown as clerk of the select board.
Second?
Any other nominations for clerk? All righty, let's go ahead and take a vote then on Nathan Brown as clerk for the select board. Arnold, aye.
Oskalilowite? White?
Brown eye?
Well, I,
Reed, aye.
Excellent. And, all right, welcome, to the new officers of the select board.
Now hand the gavel to yourself.
We do have a gavel, there was a
At
gavel.
one
do?
point I wanted
Yeah,
it
where's
too, but I
my,
never used it.
my
the
crown or
crown,
my
yeah.
cape or, yeah, my scepter? All right, good. Thank you all. All right, let's go to then the, appointments, of various committee members. And then we'll take separately the discussion of the liaison assignments. So that's the, item 11 in your packet. So we have,
We're doing
Now-
item 5, right?
We haven't done 5 yet.
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we forgot, we skipped the discussion of the format for the
Oh, yeah.
future select board meetings. Thank you, Nathan. So there may be some other options, but a couple of the questions that, we should think about is, do we are allowed by state law now to continue to do Zoom, board meetings through April of next year. We also now can meet in person. And the question is, do we want to, have our meetings always be in person? Do we want to think about alternating, one in person, one via Zoom? Thanks to our friends at Minuteman, they have figured out a system where we could have our meetings in person here and also set it up so that via Zoom, Carlisle residents would be able to participate in the same way that they had been doing when we had the Zoom board meetings, all of us online. So that's another element we should consider. And I'm just opening the floor for conversation, discussion about how we feel about that.
I think hybrid makes sense.
You think hybrid?
Yep.
So sometimes in person?
No, hybrid is,
Or hybrid is always in, the board's
I think we
always in
should
person?
always be in person, but.
Okay, and then
but,
have
yep,
the opportunity, yeah,
yep.
okay,
No, exactly.
all right.
I agree with Luke.
I strongly agree. I think us being in person is important. It's just a completely different dynamic.
Yeah.
It is.
Um,
And it doesn't mean that we can't have, no, and if we were hybrid, it would have been, well, of course, he's on a phone in the car, so it's, but.
You can still have a remote.
We could still have a
participant.
Yeah,
remote.
which is really
We
nice,
could still see
yeah.
the person on the screen if we're,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which we've
That's
done a
right.
lot, right?
Yes.
It's just- We've just said it can't be the chair, but in this case, now it could be the chair until April.
yeah.
Yep. David, do you have any, thing to add on this? The sense of the group here is that, we would go with the select board always being in person and then having that option, setting up the option so that, residents, could participate, remotely via Zoom.
I definitely like the combo of, option to participate remotely, when we're in person, but my preference would be every alternating meeting to it, just either the in-person with the Zoom option in one meeting, and the second one is 100% Zoom, would be my personal preference, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing to say that a select board member couldn't,
Participate.
participate remotely, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Right. Yeah, did you hear that, David, that a select board member could participate remotely, via Zoom through next April?
They can anyway, but they can,
The quorum.
now,
right, they
yeah, but
count.
now we don't have to meet the quorum requirements
Right.
and it can be the chair.
Right.
Exactly, yeah.
Right. All right, so,
Okay. I mean, if everybody wants this like 40% every meeting, then that's what we should strive to do. If you can't make it, as long as it's not himself, it'll be okay.
That's the least preferred option I take.
all right, well, that's, the sense of the group then is that we go with, we're gonna meet in person as a select board, as much as each of us can do that, and then, there's also the remote option. Okay, excellent, sounds good.
And incorporating feedback.
And, yes.
Yes,
Right,
from-
right, right.
exactly, that residents will be able
Yeah.
to participate remotely and make comments, yes.
Is that JBL both an input and an output? Does it, or
Can he hear?
is that JBL?
It has a microphone, apparently isn't a very good one, because
but
he's
it's
having
also-
trouble hearing us.
I know, but if it were maybe in the middle of the table, it might be better.
Yeah. What happened to that big thing that we had?
Anyway.
But we can solve it.
Yeah, I didn't,
No,
we're
we're not.
gonna need to buy some.
I
new
hear
equipment.
Barney voice, it must be in front of her.
Yeah, it's a directional mic. It's a
Is it
directional mic.
That's
Okay.
it.
Okay.
Always did have a loud voice, too. Yes,
Before we move on to
Mm.
number 11, because it's not quite time yet, could
Yeah.
we just do like the cemetery deeds or a little bit of town administrator's report, just in case somebody wants to be here for that one?
sure, sure. So Nathan's suggesting, and that's fine, that we go to cemetery deeds in case somebody was planning to show up for the discussion about committee appointments or liaison assignments. So let's do that. I think there's just one deed in here. If you go to section 12, would somebody make a motion to,
I move that select
for
board
this?
vote to transfer land in the public burial ground to Elena Kennedy, 1171 Westford Street at Green Cemetery, Lot D 148, graves 1 and 2.
Second?
We have a motion on the floor, moved and seconded. All those in favor, let's do a roll call vote. Arnold, aye.
Oskalilowite?
Brown eye?
David, you're
Reed, aye.
excellent. Okay. Also, I wanted to say one other thing on the format for the select board meetings about the idea that, and we've included it tonight, of taking just 2 minutes when we get to the town administrator's report and review the proposed or a first draft of the agenda for the following select board meeting, that we try to do that so that we all have a chance to have some input into that agenda. Okay, great. Let's see.
This is
It's-
not on the agenda.
No, it's not. No, we're not doing that tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, luckily.
Well,
You marked it all up?
I did. I read it, no, but actually,
Kate's talking about the proposal about Comcast and our renewal of our
yeah.
license.
It's in my report. It's informational, but it's in my,
Oh, is it? Okay.
Town
So, because I
administrator's
do have a
report.
question about page 15.
So we could just
Okay.
hit this for
Okay.
now.
All right.
7 minutes.
Sure. Let's do the town administrator's report.
Okay.
And that is number 13
13.
in your book. Yeah.
13. First item, taking another crack at the motion for the board to vote, recommending the switch in the percentage of the healthcare insurance, which was obviously approved by town meeting. And that gave the board the ability to make that change. And it was rather inartfully worded last time. I think it says what we wanted to say this time. So I'd ask the board to approve that. If it's correct, you know.
I still don't love it, but I'll make the motion and we can discuss it. I move pursuant to section 7A of chapter 32B of the general laws that in addition, yes, yeah.
Yeah, it's that addition
Is that
part I
in it?
don't like
Yeah,
that,
I, that's where I.
Well, yeah, you could say increase to a total of 55%.
You could just say, I move pursuant to section 7A of chapter 32B of the general laws, that the town shall pay a
Yeah.
subsidiary or additional, or an amount, so that the town share is 55% premium and the employee share is 45%.
Yeah.
Just say what it's gonna be, not what it was.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so after the comma, get rid of the whole
Yeah.
thing up until the next comma. Well done, Tim.
Well, that's,
Well,
Other
Did-
than all that.
that whole first part is actually the language in the statute, so it,
Well, it's,
I won't take the
The state's
total
confusing.
blame for it, yeah.
yeah,
That's fine, yeah,
So
as
does
long as it's
that work
clear.
then?
Does
So,
it work if I move pursuant to section 7A of chapter 32B of the general laws, that the town shall pay an amount of 55% of the premium, and the employee share shall be 45% for health insurance?
Actually, it's not pursuant to that chapter. Because pursuant to the chapters, we have to pay a minimum of 50%.
well, that's why it says in
So-
addition to, right?
so
So,
Yes.
Maybe
so
we
I
just-
understand, so I'm just trying to.
Have we started doing this yet?
Yes.
yes.
Oh, yeah,
So we're not holding anything up?
no,
No.
no.
Yeah,
But, okay, so what if we say, yeah, so I move pursuant to section, I'm gonna read the whole thing. 7A of chapter 32B of the general laws, that in addition to the payment of 50% of a premium for a contributory group life and health insurance for employees in the service of the town and their dependents, the town shall pay a subsidiary or additional amount so that the town share shall increase to, yeah, no, that's right,
He's got it.
55% of the premium.
Covers
Yeah,
it.
I
we
think
just
this
have to
does
read it
it.
out loud, yeah.
Yeah.
What does this mean for contract employees?
It applies to,
Across
there's language in the contract that says you get the health insurance at
Okay,
the
and
rate that all,
contracts-
yeah,
All contracts refer to that?
yes,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so we're good with the
So-
motion on the
second.
floor. Did somebody say, yeah,
Luke made it, and,
okay, and Nathan
Nathan
seconded.
seconded.
Okay. Any more discussion?
We're never gonna doubt you again, Tim, sorry.
No,
You just have to read it out loud.
Yeah,
It's one of
that's
those
right.
important
We'll have to
things.
remember that.
It doesn't
Okay.
read that great,
No.
but,
No, it
yeah.
doesn't.
Yeah, you did it well though, Tim. Thank you. All right, let's do a roll call vote on this, health insurance motion. Arnold, aye.
Oskalilowai.
Brown eye?
David?
Odell, aye.
read I.
Excellent.
Odell, aye.
Thank you.
I think it's just an echo.
Oh, yeah, must,
Yeah.
it certainly, yeah. All right, great. Tim, please continue.
Okay, I wanted to report to the board that Building Commissioner John Mativier has agreed to serve as the interim planning administrator while the planning board decides how they would like to move forward and fill that position or create a new position. They're very happy that John has agreed to do this, and I think it makes a lot of sense. And actually, because John is stepping into this role, we're going to roll out the SharePoint, the shared drive program with the planning board first. And I don't think I would have made that recommendation a couple of months ago. So just that John is there and is in charge, and I think he'll make sure that it works out. So that's good news.
Yeah.
So was he not full-time before? I don't remember.
No,
He's
not.
4 days a week
Yeah.
currently as building commissioner.
Okay.
So he's
this is
working,
Adding one day?
yeah, essentially over the course of
Okay.
this time.
He's not doing two jobs.
No, he's not. No, he's coordinating.
Well, he is now, but
Yeah, but he
Essentially.
doesn't have, yeah.
He's not doing 80
Not
hours
more
a
than
week,
40 hours.
right?
Well, excuse me, I'm out of water. Does the planning administrator, does the planning administrator make a higher hourly rate? Will he be paid at the planning administrator rate?
He is going to be paid at his own rate,
Oh, he won't.
just to the same, yeah. I think they're in the same grade, actually.
Oh, are they?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
he's
Okay.
agreed, he'll just
Oh, okay.
work at the same rate.
Okay.
Okay, also in the packet, you have the proposed license renewal draft from Comcast regarding the cable franchise. They're obligated by contract to provide that by June 15th to the town, which they did. And town council is reviewing that, and also our consultants, the Buskey Group, is reviewing that. As well, the needs assessment survey that the Buskey Group is completing will be out shortly. And you'll recall, we did the focus groups and online survey. And in addition to that, we had meetings with the school department, the library, and the mosquito, to discuss the types of equipment that we may wish to request from Comcast, because that's part of the negotiations. We agree on an amount of capital funding for equipment from Comcast. So there were some good ideas from those discussions, and that'll be part of the report. What the recommendation would be in terms of additional equipment. There was discussion of maybe having, rather than having to go over to Concord to do lots of things, that there could be kind of a studio of sorts here in the library or at the schools. And there'd be the ability to use a lot of the equipment that people want to use without having to necessarily go to Concord to get that, so.
Oh, that was Claude's vision many years ago.
That was right, yeah, in addition to the streetlights, yeah, which he accomplished, yeah.
I haven't been tuned in this at all. Is there any flexibility for them for providing service to people who live a little further away from the road as part of this contract?
Yeah, what's that called?
250 feet
The
of
line,
distribution pole. They have.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of the items, because that's something that came up in the focus groups and the surveys that,
Who should push
people
hard on
wanted
getting
to
that
get-
extended?
Well, and then that's also partly my question on page 15 about coverage, area to be served, and I know there are some underserved areas. And in there, it says, upon written request from the town, the licensee shall conduct a survey to determine the number of dwelling units in the requested area and shall inform the town of the survey results and applicable costs to extend service to the area. And because we have ARPA funds, which actually, that's one of the things we could get funded.
to extend,
I would
yeah.
definitely like to see this letter get written right now, requesting that survey.
Yeah, I think we do have something, if I remember, right? There's a map. I remember a map.
There's a service.
Just
Yeah,
the map that's in this document.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
Oh,
not
is it
very
in
clear.
that document?
It's
It's got-
totally unclear.
Yeah.
Just asking them who they're not serving right now and why would be.
No, that's a good idea, ask for that
Yeah,
survey
and-
Yeah.
and
now.
we need that, and we would have the money to pay for that at this point.
But we don't want to tell them that.
No, well, no, but.
Well, they're gonna know.
Their thing says that, they'll tell us the cost to extend the services. So they'll do the survey, but then we'll have to,
I think we asked them to do the survey now and we try to negotiate in
Right,
a
whatever.
longer thing, a further distance, and then whatever's not covered there, we could try to get.
yeah. Anyway, that is something I definitely want to jump on before it gets too far down the list.
No, are you talking about this map?
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, there's a better map that's got green on it.
Oh, never seen that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, there's a better map somewhere. I mean, I could be
Not only
completely
that,
lost.
but this map that they had in here is so distorted that that's not even,
Hard to
it's
read.
like they did
Yeah.
a 2D, 3D type of thing. That's not even the shape of Carlisle.
No, but
It's been stepped on. It's been smooshed.
maybe I'll reach out to Claude if he's even still responding to people.
Okay.
Because I know there's a map with green, and maybe it's something that Claude did, but it's got the underserviced areas.
That would
So, yeah, so it doesn't have cost or anything, right, or
No.
distances?
But
it's all
but
based
they
on
would
distance.
have to tell us what the cost to extend the service to
Yeah.
those people would be.
Yeah,
And so we need to know that.
Yep.
Right.
Mhm,
yeah.
okay. Note of that.
Do you want to reach out to Claude, or do you want me to? He might not respond to me.
Yeah, I
Just
can-
tell Claude that they only printed this on one side of the paper, then he'll engage right away.
There you go.
All right,
That's right.
good. Are we ready to move on
Yeah.
to the number 4?
Okay, number 4, you probably know that Carlisle has received a mattress recycling initiative grant for this year. And part of the preliminary information we need to send to the state by August 1st is whether or not we would charge for such mattress recycling. So someone could bring a mattress to the transfer station, and we've never had a discussion of whether or not there'd be a charge for that. But if we're contemplating doing that, we need to notify DEP before the contract will come out in September. They want to know by August whether or not the town would be charging for that recycling.
And so do they recommend people, towns to charge, or do they recommend towns not to charge under this grant? I mean, is it?
Well, I don't know if they've got a preference, a policy. I mean, it seems like, we talked about charging for bulky or hard to get rid of items, in general at the transfer station. That's part of what the task force is looking into.
Right.
I only bring this up now because of the kind of the time-sensitive nature, of getting back to DEP on it.
So,
If we said we were, going to charge, could we, pull that back? Could we change that if the task force,
I don't think it's binding.
recommendations come out?
I don't think it's a binding kind of thing.
Yeah, because I know the task force is looking at that, yeah, as you said, all the entire range of things that are brought for and dropped off that cost the town to then dispose of. And this falls into that category, because it will be a cost to us to transport it.
yeah, so what exactly is the grant? How much is it? Is it,
Um,
you know? And then how much does it cost? So, like, how many mattresses could we get?
7,500, something like that.
Yeah. Isn't it, my understanding is it's to provide the
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 container,
storage
the container.
just for
unit,
the
the
container.
container,
Oh,
so that there's a
right.
place to store them until you
Right.
have enough.
And
to
Gary
then-
selected a container. It costs slightly
Right.
more than the grant, but he
Uh-huh.
thinks it's worth it
Right.
to
And
spend
then
it.
the, and then we still have to,
$7,500.
yeah, 7,500.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the town would still have to transport it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
on our dime to the,
Yeah, then I say we charge.
Actually,
Yeah.
it says that they include it includes the transportations of the loads.
It's a
grant is supposed
one-year
to?
program.
1 year. They-
For
they
1 year.
They,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
Okay.
and then up to 7,500 for an approved collection
Oh.
container. So for 1 year, they pay everything.
Yeah, then.
Got
then-
it.
Then I
Well,
would be
that
charged.
works, and then
And
from
after the
there
year
on
goes
out,
away.
we'll have the task force recommendation by
Yeah.
then about
Okay.
charging,
So initially, no,
right?
and then perhaps, okay.
Because the grant covers that, covers the transportation cost. Okay,
We won't get reimbursed until 2040, but.
Yeah, right.
okay.
Okay.
And then, yeah, you've got, number 5 too.
Number 5, got a request for a one-day, beer and wine license for Clark Farm, 201 Bedford Road.
I move that the select board approve the one-day liquor license for Clark Farm Market, 201 Bedford Road on Thursday, 7/14, tomorrow, from 5 PM to 8 PM. For their annual cornhole tournament invitational.
Usually, don't we have it, contingent on their getting whatever.
You have the
Well, the
police
police-
chief sign off.
The
Well,
police
it a
has,
Police chief, but there's also wasn't there some insurance?
The host liquor
Post liquor liability
Okay.
insurance?
Contingent on, provided they provide host liquor license insurance.
Second?
any discussion? Let's
See,
take a
if
roll
those
call.
phone calls are today.
Do they have that insurance already?
He's bringing it in tomorrow.
Okay.
He
Just
knows I can't release it.
I just noticed this is
All right,
tomorrow.
great.
so.
Yeah.
So we're gonna take a roll call vote on approving this license, the one-day special beer and wine license for Clark Farm. Arnold, I.
Oscar Lilo, aye?
Brown eye?
David?
Odell, aye.
Reed, aye.
Odell, aye.
Yeah, got it. And then Tim, were you also gonna include the Green Futures Act?
Oh, you're right, right.
Request? Okay,
Right. Yeah, I know, believe all the board members received the letter. I haven't seen a
Yes.
copy of the letter, but the board's been asked to, sign on to a letter of support.
yeah.
Green
it's,
Futures, that, I know Barney's got some more information on
Yeah,
that.
we sent it out, it went, out in an email to people.
I thought that was spam, I deleted it.
For the new legislation.
Direct, or was it through Jen?
Yes, here it is. It's the, so we received this from a coalition that is urging municipalities and town leaders to support the Green Future Act, which is House Bill 3292. And it's to achieve a green future with infrastructure and workforce investments. And I could read the whole thing, but we all, pardon?
I don't think they knew about me.
Oh, you
No,
may
I
not have
included
done-
you.
Oh,
Yeah, because I was the one.
Yeah, I thought it was spam, I deleted it.
Oh, whoops.
So I didn't read it. yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I get crap
Well-
like that all the time.
Oh, okay. Well, the reason it's on the agenda tonight, which normally we wouldn't take something at the last minute like this, is that they have a July 20th deadline for which they'd like us to have signed off on this, and there's a form we complete online that would indicate our support for this bill. Shall I just, you want me just to briefly review it, or the other way to go is we just tell them we can't make the June 20 deadline, July 20 deadline, and
Yeah,
we'll
or we
discuss.
don't have to all sign off on it, right?
Well, no, it's the board, it's the select board.
Right, but it
It's
could
being-
be like 3 out of 5.
Oh, well,
Right.
that's true.
Yeah.
You mean that if three of us are ready tonight?
Yeah,
to-
I just won't sign it, yeah, that's fine.
I got
Yeah,
you.
I'm fine with that.
Well, it sounds like, Nathan, you haven't looked at it either.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah,
see
and
it.
Kate, did you?
I did look at it, and I
Yeah.
didn't know who that commission was, and I didn't understand it was from you, that you had forwarded it, although I read it.
So my
and I-
spam is justified, yeah.
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 I'm so sorry.
Well, listen, let's
I
not,
do-
yeah,
I mean, in general, I'm in favor of those things, but in my case, I'm working very hard at the state level to make sure that any of these green things also get connected with the housing things, because I want to get credit for all the green things that this town does, and to get credit for the housing that we're not doing because we don't want to cut the trees and we don't have the infrastructure. So I'm trying to get that to be a trade-off. So if there's no trade-offs in there, I'm usually a little less anxious to be supporting those things, that's all.
yeah.
And I'm trying to.
So I ran this by Lana Zamaro, and also Bob Zog. Bob, both of them are on the Energy Task Force, and Lana has been working hard. She knows a lot about this bill, and the League of Women Voters is supporting it. And you're right, that's my mistake. I should have sent it through Jen, and then it would have been included also in the official information. So, lesson learned. I think we should hold off on this then. I don't want to have us do something quickly, even if we might all end up supporting it. So we'll just discuss this. We'll vote on it next time. And if we choose to support it, we'll give them our support then. The bill is just making its way through the legislature, so it is bound to get reworked, and additional support coming forward, I'm sure, will still be helpful. So we'll move on then. So Tim, I think that's the end of your report, is that right?
That's right, yeah. And just.
So what we have then in our packet is, we saw it ahead of time, is a draft of the agenda for the July 27th meeting. And what we've got on here are a presentation about the engineering for the Maple and Curve Street bridges. The audit committee, which we did not have the auditor himself here the last time we talked about it. So that's something we're doing at the next meeting. We will continue with the personnel policies. As I mentioned already, we're going to preview the goal-setting session with Mark Way. Appointments, so the Arpa Committee, and we haven't actually gone back to discuss, we haven't discussed yet the annual appointments, so we'll come back to that. But if we still need to have the Public Safety Building Task Force on here, or any other appointments that we don't do tonight, that would be under this section. And then we've also agreed tonight that we are going to, what did we just say earlier we were going to put on the agenda? What did we say?
Wrote it down.
Mine like a
Gosh,
sieve.
I can't remember. What did we, I should have written it on here. Anyway, then the usual things at the end. But does anybody know offhand of something else that we ought to have on our agenda, in 2 weeks? Or have any,
And
questions or comments about what's here?
Yeah, the tech engineering thing, is that when they came the last time, right? And they wanted to do the grant so they could do the engineering for, is that that whole thing again?
We have a grant to do a design of improvements at those two bridges.
Yeah,
I remember the board's discussion was, I think the estimate was like something like 200,000 per bridge. And
yeah, it was kinda
everybody thought
silly.
that sounded a little,
yeah.
like a little much, so.
Yeah, well, and the thing is too, because I remember with Maple Street, yeah, it was putting up that metal rail. I mean, it looked like,
yeah,
you know what, yeah, I mean, it'd be awful, right? So, are we going down, why is this on? I thought that was kind of a done deal. Why are they coming
I
back?
think I think the board approved with their going ahead with the grant, doing the design. That it's not a commitment to,
Oh, okay.
fund the
Oh,
project,
gotcha. Oh, okay.
now they,
Yeah.
they have a 25% design.
Yeah. Yeah.
The projects.
Okay, I mean, I guess, yeah. Were you on the board then? Yeah. Oh, yeah, because Dave was on.
David,
Yeah.
yeah, Dave,
Yeah.
I remember he had some comments.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know, there might be a presentation from, MFC about, an organization for town, school, umbrella department, but
Mm,
I don't know if that we ripe yet for
Far enough
presentation.
along.
Far enough or not along. It got started, so.
okay,
I'll report to you on that during the liaison reports.
okay.
Um,
And, any other, at the moment, any other, suggestions about, agenda items? All right, well, it sounds like, we've got a good start here. And, David and I are, as the chair and vice chair, are gonna meet, once after each select board meeting and work with Jen and Tim on the agenda. And then our goal is to get that out early, as we did this last time. And also make it clear to anybody coming to make a presentation that we need their, presentation materials, in hand, by a week before the next select board meeting, and then we can mail the packet out right after that.
Yeah.
I just want to say you have place here as the remote meeting, and it's going to be, I think,
Right, all right,
in
so, yep,
person.
yeah, good note. So this will be in person. But hopefully, do we think that, by 2 weeks from tonight,
Sure.
Tim and Mark will be able to
Hopeful.
have the,
Mark, from, Minuteman Media has been
Minuteman?
very helpful,
yeah,
with this, and also, Bob Falco from Drive Tech, so we're hoping, I think. You have the equipment, that's what we need
Move
to
our
know.
furniture and
One of
get
the,
us out.
I don't know if it was mentioned, but in order to use this screen for the Zoom portion of the meeting, it would mean orienting, moving the table this way so that you could see the screen, because you couldn't from here, where you are
90
now.
degrees, right? We'll
Yeah,
move the
so
table
that
90 degrees,
these
or-
folks would be sitting over there looking this way, and this table would be turned this way.
That would put us right by the door, yeah, I'm for
Right by the, also the water, yeah.
oh gosh, is it heresy to say, well, maybe we just leave this one here up against the wall and go with something smaller, where we could curve a little bit and see each other a little more?
Yeah, I think we could be on either side of it, though, right? If it was this way.
Yeah.
That would be good.
That's-
No, not because people would still be behind.
Yeah.
Somebody's back.
That would have to happen anyway.
Anyway,
I was also considering the ability to get cameras towards the front of the table.
Mm.
And I put the table over here, and I had the backs of everyone's head. And
Ah.
only had one.
There
side.
he is.
So when I moved
Hey,
it-
David, welcome.
Yeah, 2 sides.
All right.
Terrible
Absolutely.
Could you hear me at all? or-
Yes, yes, we can hear you
Yeah.
bright and clear.
You could-
Yeah.
guys,
I couldn't tell if it was.
I'm sorry, Mark's, the fellow from Minuteman, Mark, is describing
Oh, I'm
how we
sorry.
might, be able to do the
Come
remote
up so we
meetings.
can hear you on the microphone.
Yes, thanks, Mark.
So the.
Yeah,
Zoom
come on
meeting-
up to the,
You want me to-
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, well,
please.
because-
Regular person. So the Zoom meeting participants would be heard on the speakers in the ceiling, so you won't be having the crazy little thing there, which was very well
done.
Yeah,
But we'll do it better. And anyone who wants to present from every laptop can just turn the laptop on, join the meeting without their audio, and you're right on the screen, and everyone at home can instantly see it, and we don't have the challenge with over here, because we'll get that set up, and it'll be a lot easier, so,
Excellent.
just saying, so. And as soon as we get the devices.
Yes, exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
we can do it. So we'll
Okay,
try.
so we need to bring our laptops. That's the
Well,
bottom line also.
if you want to present, yes.
Oh.
Also, if you want to see people that are participating.
No, because
No,
they'll
because
be
it's gonna be
behind
behind
you
us.
up on that
So we
screen.
won't
We're
see
gonna
that.
move, we're gonna
Oh,
move
we will
our
move,
furniture,
okay.
yeah.
So
Alright.
it'll be nice.
So will the people that are here see the backs of us then? And will
We're
we-
talking about moving over to the one side of
Yeah.
the other,
I like
yeah.
that. All right, that sounds good. All right.
Yes, thank you very much.
What's the cost?
Very exciting.
Just the,
We don't think it's gonna be, the cost is not gonna be great. I mean, we can do this pretty
Yeah.
inexpensively, yeah.
I
Just,
think I sent you the links with maybe the prices on them too, I think.
yeah,
Would Peg cover that? Peg money?
yeah, no, certainly, yeah.
Okay.
all right,
Got to 11.
so, we are done previewing the agenda for the next week, so let's go on to, where's my,
Number 11.
yeah, number 11, hold on, what happened to my regular? I had my marked up agenda, all right, here we go. Yeah, so we're going to, the annual appointments and then the discussion of the liaison assignments. So for annual appointments, what we have in our book is under 11, we have just the, we have a specific membership proposal for the Affordable Housing Trust. And then the question of the Public Safety Building Committee. Now, this first motion looks like it's improving the entire list of town board and committee appointments that is in the packet. So
We do
that's,
probably eventually, yeah.
I don't think we can do that.
no, I don't think we can adopt this entire set of boards. We could, maybe, I think we did this before and then stop, but maybe we should go through and say which ones we think we could go ahead and appoint tonight, and then the ones we want to hold off. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, all right. So, we'll hold the Affordable Housing Trust for its own separate motion. But we've got the Agricultural Commission, just say hold if you want to discuss it separately. All right, the Audit Committee, Board of Registrars, Celebrations Committee, CPC Committee, Conscom.
Are we close to getting somebody from Retcom for CPC? I just noticed this one.
Luke?
Yeah, so ultimately, Mark didn't re-up, so they just have to vote somebody. I can text Drew. I'll reach
Okay,
out
so
to
we
Drew.
can just appoint that person individually
Yep.
later, right?
So go ahead and report the rest of the current, the ones that are listed here. Okay,
As long as there's nobody named TBD in town.
right. All right, Conscom, Conservation Restriction Advisory Committee, CRAC. They've got 2 vacant.
Are they worried about those 2 vacancies? They are.
Say that
Those
again.
would also be added.
Okay, great. Council on Aging,
So, I'm sorry,
yeah,
should we
okay.
just take Conservation Restriction Advisory out then, since we're not actually appointing anybody? Nobody there is expiring.
Good point.
But that's true of several of the other ones.
Which one?
The only ones
Actually,
that
Conscom
expiring
doesn't
is
have it.
2021. They're,
You're right, you know what, Conscom doesn't have anybody
But
that
don't
needs to be
don't we have to
reappointed.
re-up everybody
Well,
or only the?
I thought the bolded ones were people that were, their terms were expiring, and now 2024 is the new end date, right? 2020.
Oh, I see, yes, yes,
Oh,
is
yeah.
that right, Jen? Is
year
that how
to-
we should read this? Thank you,
Yeah,
Jen.
I
You
think
tried to-
everybody,
You
right.
tried to help us out.
Last time.
Yes,
Yeah.
okay, got it. So if it has people that are bolded,
Which is
that means
everything,
they
right.
need to be appointed.
Right,
So in
yeah.
every one of these committees has somebody that's, needs
Yeah,
to be
Yeah,
reappointed.
so like crack is only a 1-year appointment, right?
Yeah.
So that's why everybody's.
Gotcha.
2022.
Okay, so let's go to the next page, Cultural Council, and there's nobody bolded there, so we actually don't have to vote on them. Okay, yeah, the Energy Task
I
Force,
like to hold that.
let's
Yes,
hold on this
yes.
one.
And if
This
it's
one
a
guy.
1-year term, it says 2024.
Yeah, it says 1 year up here.
That's a cut and paste.
Okay,
Yeah,
well,
we're
anyway,
holding it.
we're gonna hold on that one. The FinCom,
I think you did that, no? FinCom? Does those expire at the end of the town meeting? Didn't Jim Dar ask us to do that?
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
I
thinking,
think we did it.
I think
Right, but let's
Lynn
do it again,
Lipinski and
just to be-
James Katecha, yeah.
Belt on along with the suspenders.
Everybody's re-upping, I guess.
okay. All right, the Historical Commission. All right, the Household Recycling Committee,
Mm.
Insurance Advisory Committee, they don't
Alan,
need any
oh.
reappointments.
Well,
Alan's
Lewis
going off,
is
though.
off.
Well,
Well,
unless he, oh, right,
Unless-
representing the Board of Selectmen, though. This is this under the, so was that a member? Was he a member or the liaison?
No, he was a member.
He was a member, okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Okay.
All
we
right,
need-
so we're gonna vote to, well,
somebody's gonna
we'd have to wait till have one of us,
So we'll just put that one on hold. for now.
yeah,
hold.
okay. That's a hold. Land Stewardship,
Yeah, those should
MFs,
be 2024, right? Those didn't
where
go.
it says 2021?
Yeah.
Yes, right. Okay. The Municipal Facilities Committee,
I'd like to hold that.
all right.
Chairman Arnold, if I may, point out one mistake on the chart. The Municipal Facilities Committee, the school committee no longer has a dedicated seat on that committee. Christine Lear thought she was, her appointment was expiring because she's no longer on the committee. That's not the case. She is not up for reappointment until 2022. It's just Gary and I that are up for reappointment.
Okay. We're gonna,
But
we're holding off.
does she hold the seat as a school committee rep or as herself?
Her appointment came from the Board of Selectmen.
As an individual or as the school
While
committee
she
rep?
was on the school committee.
No, but that's, you're not answering the question, John.
I think I am, but what happened is that after she was appointed by the Board of Selectmen, from the school committee, the charter was changed and that criteria was removed.
Okay.
And so she
You understand?
continued on the
Makes
board.
sense to
I
you?
don't remember. what the
She continued on
Yeah,
the.
so we'll-
We're holding it anyway,
You know what?
right?
We're-
You
this
know,
is-
John, thanks for that. We're holding on this.
Anyway, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to bring
Yeah,
that
so
up.
we're
Okay.
up for review then.
Thank you,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that
Per-
the-
Personnel Board, the Recreation Commission. The next one's vacant is, oh, wow, Scholarship Advisory Committee. Might as well reappoint Frank and we'll, Senior Tax Advisory Committee, the Traffic and Safety Advisory Committee, Trails Committee, Veterans Committee. No one's being reappointed on the Youth Commission and the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Just a question, how does one determine what the tenure is for each of these?
It's
Is
in
that
the
It's
charter.
in the charter for the
Is it
committee.
historic folkloric, or do they decide
It's
that?
in the charter.
Well, I
It's when it
understand
comes
that,
to,
but
yeah.
how was it decided whenever it went into the charter?
I guess it depends upon which,
I mean, the committee self-decide, or,
no, the Board of Selectmen put together the charter and they decided how long they thought the term should be.
okay, so if we thought, for example, traffic and advisory should be a 2-year assignment, could we change it?
We just changed the
Yes.
charter.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
I was if we want to just cross it off, I was on the River Stewardship Council when I was on the board last time, and I'd be happy to be on it again.
Oh, good.
What
All right.
what river?
Concord River.
The Concord River does it about, I guess it does, over in the
Yeah.
eastern edge, okay.
Okay,
They'll be
so-
happy to hear that.
All right.
Will they?
Yeah, somebody
Nathan?
contacted me. Well,
They. Nathan will be happy that Nathan's appointed, or?
all right, so
So-
here's what I would
Motion?
suggest, yeah, that we make a motion to accept everything except the holds.
I make a motion that we accept, that the select board vote to approve, the list of FY '22 town board and committee appointments effective July 1st, 2021, as presented on July 13th, 2021, for the following committees and commissions or bodies. Agricultural Commission, Audit Committee, Board of Registrars, Celebrations Committee, Community Preservation Committee, Conservation Commission, Conservation Restriction Advisory Committee, Council on Aging, Cultural Council, Finance Committee, Historical Commission, Household Recycling Committee, Insurance Advisory Committee, Land Stewardship Committee, Personnel Board, Recreation Committee, River Stewardship Council, Scholarship Advisory Committee, Senior Tax Advisory Committee, Traffic and Safety Advisory Committee, Trails Committee, Veterans Committee, Youth Commission, and the Zoning Board of Appeals as amended tonight.
Second?
Oh, I'm sorry, I retract Insurance Advisory Committee.
Well, were we just gonna reappoint a BOS rep? I mean,
Yeah.
we can do that tonight.
We could-
Yeah, well, we'll do it separately. Let's do this one then.
I'll second that.
All
motion.
right. Good. So we have a motion's been made and seconded. Is any more discussion? Ready to vote? All right, roll call vote. Arnold, aye.
No, we don't need to.
Oh, we don't
It's
need
here
to
now.
do that now. That's right.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
we're
Aye.
just all saying aye. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. All right, so those committees and boards have been appointed and great, we'll let them know.
Okay,
All right.
will do.
So let's go back to the holds. Are we going to? So let's start with the first one that we held, which is the Energy Task Force. I would like to recommend that we hold off on this one entirely rather than appointing one person. And I want, it's somewhat relevant to something that Kate has been discussing about sort of a code of conduct for people that serve on boards and committees. And I think we may want to consider that. So, and since there's only one person currently,
There's no committee.
There's no
There
committee.
can't be a quorum.
right. So this group will just be put on hold for now.
Put it aside until we deal with it in the future.
All right, that takes us to the Insurance Advisory Committee, but are we gonna, wait till we do our liaison assignments?
Well,
Or just go ahead and do
Take a
that
volunteer.
somebody could volunteer. I mean,
Yeah,
Nathan just
so-
volunteered for the
other one?
other
So
one,
this is, right,
Doesn't
to
mean I'm volunteering for this one.
Oh.
Insurance Advisory Committee.
I'll do it if nobody else will.
What does it do?
Well, that's the one that decided whether, the 55, 45.
Yeah,
They're the ones that, first of all, changed from the original insurance company
new.
to the Blue Cross, which saved that money to start with. I doubt that they'll be meeting as much as they were before this, but
right, they've done some of the big
quarterly,
things.
they're
Yeah,
meeting quarterly.
the way they went for years without meeting at all, so.
Okay, so there you go.
So you look at all the
Vast-
insurances?
Quite.
Vast
Safe
improvement.
in
Just the
volunteering.
health insurance.
It's only health insurance?
Yes.
It's not the other insurances?
It's not the property or,
Who does all
liability.
that stuff?
well, we do that through our office.
This
But
may
with
though,
Maya,
we may though, because of our personnel policy, be needing to meet to talk about the long and short term.
Yeah, disability, yeah.
Disability, right.
Exactly.
things like
Right.
that, so. So
All
that's
right.
why I'm sort of interested in
All right,
Kind of.
great.
All right. So,
finishing that up.
really, we just need to appoint Kate because everybody else, their appointments go through till 2023 anyway. So,
I move that the Board of Selectmen vote to approve the Insurance Advisory Committee as amended tonight. Effective July 1st, 2021.
I'll second that.
all right, all those in favor?
There's discussion. I wanna know what
That's
Kate's
too-
been doing. It's already July 13th. Been sitting around for 13 days?
No, I've been working on their long and
Oh, okay,
short-term,
very good.
Disability.
disability
In
insurance,
that
come
case,
on.
All
I
right,
approve.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, all right, excellent. Let's move to the Municipal Facilities Committee.
So I haven't been engaged, because I haven't been on the Board of Selectmen. But there seems to be a little bit of confusion about exactly what the charter is and what the makeup of this is. Selfishly, I'd like to figure out how I could become a member of this committee as well.
I can tell you,
And
I'm
so
happy
I
to
think,
step up.
I think that we just have, well, maybe I'm on as a citizen. But I think that we have just more, I'd like us to talk more about it. And so just kind of put it aside for now and get through the rest of these things. That
Well,
would be my.
And I also think we need to talk about the charter, because I think, especially if we're going to be looking towards a centralized facilities department, we definitely need school committee on it. And school
Yeah.
committee, not past school committee,
Right.
you know,
I agree with that.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah. I can work on that with you, Kate.
be happy to.
Okay.
All right, great.
So what happens to everybody? It's only the two guys are now the only people that?
Well, I
Well,
the five.
no, there's already,
Kate-
there are four, there are two
The
voting
committee-
members.
That's what I mean. So
Yeah.
it's only Kate and Scott at
Kate
the
and
moment?
Scott.
the committee continues to operate with its old members until new members are appointed.
Okay, very good.
All right,
So somebody needs to inform Christine though, right? I mean, she,
Yeah, she'll,
well,
I had
she's
dinner with her the
being,
other night and I think she's expecting to
well,
be on it.
she's one of the applicants, applicants,
Okay.
but you know what I mean, that she's sent in her
But for
letter
what,
of
for
interest.
what
still a member.
slot though?
she's still a member.
She's still a
until
member
replaced.
until she's not. Okay.
All right, so we're gonna hold on that and we'll, let's put that on the agenda for our meeting in 2 weeks. And then Nathan and Kate can do
I
some work
think
in
this
between.
might fit under some of our goals for
Yes.
this year.
Okay. And that's it that we put on hold, correct?
I think so.
Okay. So we're done with that piece.
So then
So we'll
I will,
just-
so then we're at,
Can I ask you another question? Just curious. So you get to these, like youth commission, 3 years, I guess, in the charter, but somehow, I guess it's one person, but 5 out of 6 or 6 out of 7 are coincident terms.
Right, they're not
I mean,
staggered.
should we be staggering those?
yes, absolutely.
Right. And how would we do that, given the charter says 3 years and blah, blah, blah? Could we? Just something, not a pressing item, but we ought to pay attention to that.
Well, and
I
I
mean, the
think.
1 year's like, obviously,
Right.
and I still don't understand why you'd have a 1 year and just have 100% flip, but anyway. It seems to me, as long as we're going to it, we ought to try to do 3-year terms with
Oh,
staggered,
yeah.
not have this 1 year. We have a crazy quote, right? Why do we just want it for 3 years?
I think part of it is that, industry on some of the ones that I've been a part of creating was, there was a concern that that 3 years was
Too long and people wouldn't want it.
was too big a commitment to be asking people to do. And so basically it was suck them in and then hold them.
Yeah, but then it,
Yeah, but we only have,
Yes
it
and
looks
no.
like we only have a couple that are 1 years. I would think tax advisory, I don't know, it looks like it's mostly
We
town.
used to have 5-year ones.
I don't know. My advice is we should ask those committees that are 1 year if they would, how they would feel about 3-year assignments. And then, or it could be 1, 2, and 3 year, right?
Yeah.
Just stagger it
so
out.
that it starts to stagger, because
Yeah.
you don't want
Yeah.
everybody going off after 3 years and then nobody knows
Right.
what the heck is
Right.
happening. So it does have to be staggered.
All right, good point. Let's move on then to our,
No, we got CAH.
liaison, no,
We had
that's
the
right, let's do the housing
Affordable
trust, sorry.
And my question to the board
Yes,
is,
so that's,
the way.
you have the, excuse me a sec, but so right after those, that list, you have the Affordable Housing Trust charge, and then the list of members and those being proposed to be appointed. And there are 4 positions with 3-year terms that expire in 2024, and there are 3 positions with a 1-year term that expire in 2022.
So who's expiring? Because they all say 2021.
They're all expiring because they used to all be 1-year terms.
Right, so
So
this is a
everybody's
change.
expiring, which is why, when we did the new bylaw, we said 1- and 2-year terms for the first go round. And then after that is 2 years.
Yeah, so if you look up in the second paragraph at the end, it describes that.
And so this is, so there's 3 positions that we're looking to fill.
Maybe more than
Well, actually, though, there's 7 positions we're trying to fill.
Because they were all just a 1-year appointment, right?
Yeah.
Weren't they? Yeah, so the
Right.
whole board needs to be reappointed, but some of them are reappointed for a
And-
3-year term and one for a 1.
And the other thing is that it's, I don't know, I
Do you want
lost
to look
my
at this?
page.
Sure.
7 trustees, no fewer than 1 member of the select board. I would like to be the member, but that doesn't mean that there couldn't be another member of the select board. It just says no fewer than 1 member. I'd like to be on 1 more year, try to get the thing kind of up and running.
Okay.
And Dave,
and I
you've
figured-
expressed interest, right?
I expect interest,
The first thing we need to talk about is the makeup, and then we need
Yes,
to talk about who's gonna be on
Exactly.
it.
But
So,
do you-
The first question is, do we want more than 1 select board member on it to start with?
Right.
Before we even go there, just ask a question, okay? What mix of 1, 2, and 3s, do we know that?
What, you mean, no, it's just 1s and 2s?
It's only 1s and 2s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this
I mean,
is
takes
1s and
us-
3s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it says 4 positions.
Yeah, for 3-year terms and 3
Oh,
for 1
oh,
year.
so it's the
for a
1s and
1-year term.
3s?
Is that what you wanted?
No, no,
Okay.
because these are, that's only,
Because it says here, right, that
Well,
some for 1 year.
1-year term, and, yeah, that's a mistake. It's 4 positions with 1-year terms, and, or with 2-year terms and 3 position. So it's 4 positions with 2-year terms and 3 positions with 1-year term.
And that's in the chart, that's in the.
It's, yes, because it's 7 appointments initially made after the adoption of this article shall be for a term of 1 year, so that as nearly an equal number of the trustees' terms as possible shall expire each year. Trustees shall serve for a term of 2 years and may be reappointed. So it's a maximum of 2 years.
Okay, so you're just staggering them?
I'm just trying to
a little
stagger
bit.
them.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay.
Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah, so, and it's 4 with 2.
Yeah.
2.
So all right, and so then the question, and 7 is for sure 7, or it's up to 7?
No, yeah, 7 is 7.
Okay, 7 is
Consisting of 7 trustees.
Okay, so 1 BOS or more. And we've received 3 interested parties who are not
And I have
BOS.
2 more in the wings.
It's actually another, yeah, because there's,
You have 4, so you have
4.
6, you have 6.
There's another one with 5. Did Vanessa just come in today? I got another one.
Carolyn,
Ing.
Vanessa,
Carolyn's been on it.
Vanessa will come on if she doesn't get on governance, she would say. Because she's applied for governance and her first choice is governance.
Okay.
Do we know the timing of Wayne's selection?
He's
of
supposed
that?
to.
I
yeah.
do. I reached out to him and he is actually making the choices right now and expect by the end of the week to
So do we need to wait?
know those.
Well, I guess we can appoint
Well, we can
everybody
appoint
else.
everybody else. I haven't had a meeting
Right.
because I.
But we shouldn't over-appoint. In other words,
Right, I'm not.
we shouldn't
I'm
backfill
not-
with BOS.
That's why she's not even on this list right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's another person that I could ask. But I've got.
So
I've
if you-
got 1, 2,
If
So
you,
now we're at
if
the
you
question.
took-
I've got 5
Yeah.
out of the 7.
So if you, right, so ideally you would not have more than one other select board person.
Not more than
In
one other.
addition to
It
the
would be
chair.
zero, it would be
Yeah.
one or two.
One or two.
select
One or
board.
Yeah.
two.
Well, not the chair of the select board, though, right?
No,
No.
right, not the
And
chair,
select
but
board
the,
member isn't necessarily the chair of the housing trust, right?
That's correct.
Right,
No.
okay.
right.
I have been, but,
right.
and I may
But-
be for one more year, I
right.
don't know, we'll see.
So currently there are four select board
Right.
members here and we're saying,
I'd like to see it be 3, but I don't know why, maybe I just, because I proposed that a couple of years ago, when I also proposed, like, we dropped the chair from being on the, I just felt like the chair of the Board of Selectmen being on the Housing Trust kind of lent, like, too much authority for the Board of Selectmen, right?
Yeah.
yeah, and we had talked about this earlier a little bit and we're thinking one for sure as the bylaw proposed, and that I actually think 2 select board members, if there's another member that wants to serve, that would be fine, but yeah, just having been on it this last year and that there's a lot of work to be done, I
And
think
select board
having,
members tend not to be real workhorses. So that's what the idea was, to have some direction from the select board, but have the worker bees, have more worker bees.
yeah. Any other comments from David or Lou?
I agree
So-
with what you said. I agree with both comments. It's up to the people who really want to do it, to do it.
So what we're saying is that this year, it's going to be 2 Board of Selectmen meetings, 2
Members.
select board members. But we're not saying that the Affordable Housing Trust is 2 select board members. We're saying that it is a minimum of 1. Just one. So we're not changing anything other than we're just saying, okay, well, this year is just gonna be, there's only 2 people who are gonna be on it. So the following year, it could be 3, and nobody's saying, oh, no, you can only have
it could
2
only-
select.
No,
board
it's
members.
not.
Following
Right.
could be 1.
Yeah,
Always has to have 1.
Yeah, I just wanted to be clear that it's not a precedent
That's what I'm hearing.
from now on, it's,
That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
no.
So you just volunteered yourself.
no, I didn't.
Yeah, you did.
Well, you did earlier, but,
No, I didn't. All I just said was, I think,
okay,
this is the number, I'm not volunteering myself.
okay. So,
Well,
it's,
David and I are not getting on it. Barney's not eligible, so short straw.
If he wants
well,
to.
only if he wants
Only
to.
if he
You don't
right?
have to have
All
2.
right.
You don't have to have 2.
Doesn't make it happen.
Okay, all right, gentlemen, let's move on. Let's, it sounds like we're in agreement and understanding about the number of select board members. So now I think we can take a motion to appoint Kate Reed, representing the select board, and then Gina Fox, Beverly Shorey, Carolyn Ing, and Maureen Cosgrove Deary. Is that right?
Should you clarify which ones are getting the 2-year
Yeah.
terms?
Yes, and do you know what their preferences are, or do you want to just,
They're all 2 years, except for me, it would be 1 year.
okay, so,
1, 2, 3,
Um,
4.
So that fills up your
So
2-year slots.
right.
And
okay,
that
so
leaves
they're
2 open
2-year
1-year slots.
Yeah, 2 open 1-year slots, right?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, so who would like to make that motion? David, it sounds like you've got your hand, you've
Okay,
got the handle on it.
sure.
Okay,
I move that we appoint Kate Reed to a 1-year term, Gina Fox, Beverly Shorey, Carolyn Ing, and Maureen Cosgrove Deary, each to 2-year terms on the Carlisle Affordable Housing Trust.
Second?
excellent. Any more discussion? Hearing none? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right?
Any opposed? Okay, excellent.
Okay, but I do need to know, how many more people am I recruiting?
2 more.
What?
2 more for each a year.
Selectmen, non-selectmen? What am I, who am I?
I don't think,
That's what
You
I'm
first
asking.
go
2
to your
I
more.
was
own
just trying to
stuff.
be clear as to what we were saying.
Okay, so
Right,
2
you know,
more.
is it 2? Are we saying it has to be 2? If we had said it had to be 2 or 3, then
No.
other people would have to step up.
Right.
Okay.
All right,
that's-
good.
So I will get 2
And
more
then, of course,
people.
I
any,
was just looking at what the
No,
precedent.
all right, I
Yeah.
just want to be
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
I
right.
don't want to get 2 people and then find out that I made a big mistake. Okay.
All right, so that's
Thank you.
great, and let us turn to the liaison assignments then. And I guess I'd like to first talk about, first, are there anything missing? Looked to me like it was comprehensive, but I just want to ask if anybody sees any commission or committee missing. And then, where is it? Let's see, I have that separate one with liaison assignments. So if that looks good to
Just
everybody.
want to check this one thing on here.
Sure.
The working groups and task force.
Yes,
Since it's a working group, doesn't Tim have to be the one who says,
Yep.
who requests people be on it? I think we should, personally, I think
Why
we
would
should
that
probably
be?
look at making it a committee,
Okay.
but
so what
Um,
falls under that,
just the technology working group.
just the
there,
technology
it's a
working group.
That's Tim's group entirely, right?
Right.
I mean, is
The
that
board
the,
appointed as a committee. No matter what you call it, it's a committee.
Okay, even though it
But
says
we
working
appointed,
group.
Or is it a working group that you put
Oh,
together?
it is a working group. I was just drawing the distinction that even if you appointed something you called a working group, you've appointed a committee.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
which is subject
Right.
to open meeting law.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh,
No
but
matter-
isn't a working group essentially subject to open meeting law if it meets regularly?
Yeah, Tim can put
Not if
together-
it's,
Not if it's yours?
not if I create it.
So what we've done in this case is we've asked him to put together a team to deal with a particular issue at his discretion.
So this list is no longer correct in this, because Highland Building is a building committee, it's not a task force. Do you guys on the Highland Committee take minutes and post agendas and stuff? You're not in charge, so.
Yeah, I'm not in charge, so I don't pay attention. I don't think we have a, I can look.
It's not on here.
Yeah, it should be if it were, I mean,
If it was a,
Were they
ad
all
hoc,
appointed?
yeah, yes,
They have to.
they should be doing.
We
and
did
the
it Highland
transfer
too.
station task force isn't on here either, I just realized, right?
Yeah,
They are
yeah, John
open
always
college.
asks for somebody to take minutes. They
Yeah,
just
I
never
think-
volunteer.
Okay, so he's probably doing.
Yeah,
Now,
so I'm sure
the
he's doing it.
transfer station task force,
And they are
That's a
following
committee.
open meeting
that's a
law.
committee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that,
well,
Appointed.
task force is what we describe them as with a 1 year, they're,
okay, so you know what, there's committees and there's ad hoc committees. Just for, that are short term. Committees go for
But a
years
few-
and years and years and years. Ad
Right.
hoc is for one
short
project.
project or something, right?
So working groups, task force, and ad hoc committees.
Right.
So departments is clear.
Right, so we didn't get, okay, so the transfer station task force needs to be added, okay.
And this is my opportunity to say what I would like, because I'm new on the board. I would
Sorry.
like to be the liaison to the police department.
Yeah, I'm currently the liaison and, I think I'd like to keep it. I've been working with the police on LEPC and, I'll have to continue one more year at least. Since I've only done it a year, so.
Yeah, I've found this to be sort of an awkward,
Yeah.
I don't know that we have a good way of working through this and figuring out,
Should shuffle them.
who's
Well,
gonna
my
take
sys-
the assignments and, because it's,
Joint ones, so.
some of it's,
Well, we shouldn't at 9:45 or 10 o'clock, we shouldn't be having a discussion, people, maybe we should just register, either we can table it because we have a shorter agenda next time, or we can register interest like Nathan has done, and just leave it at that, and we'll sift through it, in another meeting.
Yeah.
But we shouldn't have, I don't think at 10 o'clock we should be horse trading.
Well, what we
Yeah.
could do is we could just, look at this as a blank slate and send what we were interested in to Tim or Jen, and they.
It really should go to Barney, I would say.
Well, I think we should go to them, right, and then.
I don't think so. I think this is, I believe that the chair ultimately would have the purview of deciding.
Oh,
Well,
no, I'm not.
it's not the decision,
It's
it's.
just putting a list
selection
together.
of the-
Oh, putting
The names
Yeah,
together,
So
yeah.
why don't we have that
Collating
go,
the list.
yeah, let's go. if-
Yeah, which
let's
I'd
have
share
that-
with Barney,
Yeah,
and
let's go,
you too,
have
at
that go
our
to
next
Tim and
meeting.
Jen.
Yeah,
So the assignment to each of us is to go through this list and not worry about who's currently doing it, but indicate what are your.
Which ones you're interested
Which
in.
ones you're interested in, yes. Okay, and, see if you can get that to, Tim and Jen before, in the next week, so that
Okay.
we will have it for the next meeting. And so we'll add this then to the next agenda. We'll come back and revisit
We
this.
can do rock, paper, scissors, paper.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see if we can very quickly see, if there are any liaison reports, and then we'll move to the approval of the minutes. Any,
We talked very briefly about the MFC. First thing to know is that the library just got a new chiller, which is very good
Then we can
news.
start going back to the library.
Yes. And Christine Lear and I started drafting a new organization chart for town, school, because municipal facilities and the two facilities managers, the school facilities manager and the town facilities manager, are involved in this process and have given us some input as to how they think it might be working. We've read several town organizations from, one from Bedford, one from Carver, that we've, done quite a bit of research. We just presented it to the MFC. They're gonna chew on it a little bit, and then we would like to, shop it around. So we'll see how that goes.
any other reports?
Well, I think the LEPC covered Brian's scuba tank issue.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, so hopefully he can get that resolved. Another thing, so I'm not the DPW liaison, but I get stopped every time I go in there. So there were a couple of things recently that popped up. One is they have the opportunity to get Concord's old bucket truck. And I know the bucket truck is always, yeah, and it's significantly reduced in price. He actually talked with Chris about it. He doesn't know exactly what it's gonna be, but it'll probably be somewhere in the 10 to 20,000 range.
He was asking for 40 or more last
Yeah,
time.
exactly,
Yeah,
and
10%.
he didn't know exactly what Gary's budget was, but he said it's in like the 10,000 range they spend every year to get one, to rent one.
Uh-huh.
So I said I would talk to everybody tonight, excuse me, and, ultimately, we're not very restrictive on everybody's budget, right? And so my thinking was if Gary kind of matches the numbers, or if he can make it work in his budget, then I think it makes sense for us to support it. But obviously I wanted to see what everybody else's take is on it. If it ends up being it's 10 to rent one and it's 15 to buy one.
Yeah.
We're, that's kind of a no-brainer,
Yeah.
As it gets higher, it
Why
gets a
doesn't
little tighter.
Concord, they bought a new one? Or?
They bought a new one. They have more money than we do, so they buy new stuff, yeah. But it was kind of the same,
10 a year.
right, if we're
Yes,
spending
we
10 a
already
year,
So if
right?
we're spending 15 to that, that's a year and a half, and then.
Exactly.
We should definitely
everything
buy
else
it.
would be maintenance.
Yeah.
So how do we find the money for it?
Well, so I guess Gary's on vacation this week. So the next question is if part of it's already in his budget, maybe he can squeak the rest out of his budget, and we just give him the okay to do it.
Out of cash, would you do that?
Or,
Capital item out of cash?
well,
revolving fund, can you
yeah,
go to
or,
that?
yeah, or chapter 90 or something, right? Can you,
No,
You can
chapter
buy-
90, I don't think you can.
not a bucket truck maybe?
Yeah.
No, you can buy like Sanders and stuff. right?
You can buy Sanders and
Yeah, but not.
So
a
you
we-
can't even buy the trucks they put the plow on.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
So if you buy it out of operating, you don't depreciate it. Doesn't go to the balance sheet thing. You just expense it out and you're done.
Right. Sure. I think-
He has the money, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. The second thing is the school tractor. So they're getting
Yeah.
rid of the school tractor, right? And apparently they're getting 2,000 for a trade-in for that. but they've got a 1950-something International at the cemetery. That is basically on its last leg, so I don't know if there was some way.
This is why we want to have this under both.
Centralized.
Because as we don't need two tractors.
No.
One tractor would be really nice.
you might
One new
need two,
tractor rather than two lousy ones.
Well, yeah, I think you get boys in their tractors sometimes, right? But the thing is, it would be like, that's a heck of a lot nicer tractor than the one that they've got. And for $2,000, right, it doesn't make sense for the town to say, well, trade it in, right?
I see what you're
it'd be-
saying.
So don't trade it.
Yeah.
Right, so don't trade it, right? But
Right.
I think the school is expecting that too, right? They're that money towards, so I don't know, again, how we would finagle that.
This is why we-
Ask them to give it to DPW.
Yeah, we can
Yes,
ask, right?
ask.
So maybe I'll
Yeah.
approach, right, well, who's the school liaison here?
Me.
Yeah, do you want to approach?
What do
Well, I
have to
guess it
do?
would be
Just
under-
Ask him not to trade it in.
Yeah.
Have we approved the replacement?
Yeah, so I guess it got
Sure.
approved, right?
I'll just ask,
Yeah.
Ask,
Ask them to give it to
Jim.
DPW.
Well, would it be Jim or would it be, yeah,
it's Jim, I mean, it's his tractor, I guess, right?
yeah, technically, right? Yeah, no, so those were, excuse me, those were the other things.
What did
So-
we decide on the bucket truck?
Yes, go for it.
Yeah,
Well,
go
do
for
we
it,
need
especially-
to, yeah, do we need to take a
I don't-
vote on that?
Not if
or we
it's
can-
inside his
No,
budget.
if it's in his budget, I mean, we've
Okay,
been pretty
budget.
flexible with,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
what
good.
does Jim have to do to transfer it to, he doesn't do anything.
Nothing really, right?
Tell you
It's just
don't trade it in.
the letter of transmittal, and you just
Please
change the
don't trade it
insurance
in.
on it. I mean, just
Yeah.
the, what department.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll just copy
No big
you, I'll
deal.
copy you
Yeah.
on the email.
yeah, it should be easy.
Yeah, so, and that is why, yeah, it'd be nice to have something that kind of focused on all of that, right? Because it doesn't make sense for,
Ridiculous.
Right.
Right.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, left hand doesn't know what the right hand's
Right.
doing.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah, so,
Okay.
so that'll make those folks happy. So that's it. No, I mean, everything else seems to be chugging along at the transfer station, I guess. It's funny,
And
you
the-
pull in, you go, shit.
This is why I have my trash picked up.
Yeah.
That's why I have my,
Chris comes and picks it up.
Yeah, oh, does he?
Yeah, Doc.
Yeah, no, I like Chris a lot, yeah. But,
okay, thank you. Any other liaison reports? Okay,
Actually, just one quick thing. I've been, a lot of people have been asking about CPC,
yeah.
for fall. So are we definitely having, I've been telling folks we're having a fall
Oh,
town meeting.
that's- Yes.
So,
Select board
Yes.
meeting, let's have that on the agenda next
Yeah.
time. I did, have a little back and forth with Wayne about that, and he is, definitely recommending, it's our decision, but he would recommend we have a special town meeting this fall as well.
yeah, because I've been telling everybody, yeah, put an application. So we got-
Assignments, appointments that was going on this.
Okay, yeah,
It just occurred to me.
right, okay.
Um,
So,
It's the MFC, I think.
yeah, all right, so special town meeting. So, Tim, what's the way we usually figure out the date that we would have that? Is that
For
something
town
for a
meeting?
special town meeting in the fall? Yeah. Do we
First
just,
calls to the moderator.
yeah,
Yeah.
to see
okay,
if he's available to do it.
okay, but do
And then we
we
book
have
the school, yeah.
do
no,
we
it's-
have a preferred date that we wanna?
Sometime
Well,
October, usually, we've been.
I think the
October-
feeling is this September's too early.
Yeah,
September's too early,
People-
and November is
yeah.
Thanksgiving,
Too
because
cold.
bumps up
Yeah.
to Thanksgiving. So
I guess you're
October is usually when we go.
and we're gonna go
In
back
depth.
inside, I'm assuming,
I think that's,
yeah.
So the thing to do is sync up with, school calendar, right? You don't
Yeah.
wanna be in.
yeah, because
Right.
they've got a lot
involved with
going
Spaghetti
on.
supper or play.
Right, right.
Hopefully they'll have all
Well,
that.
that's usually in September,
Okay.
and, yeah.
Was
that also in October? Yeah, okay.
Tim, do you wanna follow up with Wayne?
Sure,
Okay,
no, I'll do that, yeah.
great.
Yep.
And then we, at the
But
next
loop in
meeting, we
with
can,
Jim.
For
and
the school
get that
calendar,
Yeah.
yeah.
yeah,
Cause it'll be a Monday night, right? Is it gonna be a Monday night?
It doesn't have to be, but
That's
usually-
classically
it's
what it
often
is.
been,
But
yeah,
you know
it's
what?
usually been.
Lately, we've been having it on Saturdays and Sundays, and I think,
Yeah,
we
give it a
should
special.
consider,
I'm good with that. I mean, it's
Doing
easier,
that
they have
Or
less stuff
in the
going on.
auditorium,
In the
yeah, on a
auditorium, I-
weekend, yeah. Okay. We'll,
and hopefully we'll be able to do it hybrid, and so that some people with, kids might be able to join, and who
Right.
knows?
all right, we just have to, review the warrant articles and, the minutes. Lost my main. And it's just the, not
The-
warrant, it's
the
the
warrants.
warrants that I, sorry, that I
Yeah.
have been signing off on.
Yeah.
And that's,
you're gonna continue that arrangement? Wasn't Alan one of the designated signers?
I think it was me and then David.
I was the
okay.
backup.
David was
Okay,
the
so we
backup,
don't need
so,
I can still
Change
be backup, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Kate's in town. You won't know you're not in town. I
Right
can.
now, I'm in Rockland.
I'm
What is it, how,
fine.
once a week, come by or what?
Not
yeah,
even,
I'm
yeah.
fine to
I
keep
am.
doing
I
it.
drove
I
in.
like
Barney's usually
actually,
available.
yeah, and I like
Barney's, I'm
checking
happy.
in on what, what we're, okay, so,
Should we vote on that then?
let's,
Make it official that Barney can sign and?
we've already done that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
was
it
it,
does not
wasn't,
have-
it wasn't the position.
Right.
No, it's just,
Yeah, as a member of the select board that,
it's
yeah.
just to streamline, because they were signing, every single selectman had to sign.
Alrighty.
person.
Yeah.
So let's see if we can get through the minutes here. We're almost done.
I move approval of the,
Motion here.
oh, sorry, thank you, the meeting minutes of June 21st is presented.
In your packet. Anybody, have any, comments on the minutes?
There was one typo that that I figured when people were reading, they would know that that D belonged at the end of that word, and I just didn't even bother to correct it. So there.
Consideration.
No, it just,
All right, it looks like everybody's fine with those minutes. Did we get a second?
I
to your
second
motion?
it,
You
yeah.
seconded, okay, great. Errol, all in favor?
Aye,
Aye.
Aye.
very good,
Abstaining.
Jen.
Right, and Nathan's abstaining, okay.
And,
And,
I know.
yeah, listen, I just want to note that, we're supposed to be telling, Tim about vacation schedules, so we can figure out, if we're having these other board meetings,
I thought
throughout
you-
the
I
summer.
will be here on the 24th of August.
20,
And I
okay,
will not be calling in on the 24th of August.
So, all right, so we're gonna have the 27th.
yes, and we have our
And we'll have
August
the
10th.
So the only
and
question is when we
the
have. the-
24th, and we, you know, we don't have to, we have to have three of us available.
And that would be
If we-
3 meetings in August.
I probably will be
No,
on
the 10th
vacation
and the
that
24th.
day too.
Oh, all right.
I'm unlikely to be available that week.
Okay, well, you're not letting me know. You're
Yeah,
letting. Tim
I've
know.
got it,
I
yeah.
will not be here on the 24th.
All right.
I don't
Or
know
the
yet,
17th.
I don't know yet.
We
but
can
it's
always-
unlikely.
All right, well, we can also see what we
I
have
never go
that we
We
anywhere.
also
have.
meet a
to-
different week if it,
Yeah.
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 Yep.
All right. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, excellent. Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Now, Jen, do you want us to?